ladies and gentlemen, NBs, are we live? Can you hear me? Let me know in chat. I think it's working now. This was like the first little hiccup that we had, but I think we were able to stay on this link. Check. Yeah, but in 480p, give it a second.
Yay! Okay, cool. I think it works.
How many chats do I need to have open? Probably only one, right?
Sorry.
Right,
I'll have one up too.
There are 7 people already in the waiting room, which we love to see. Now, I did tease you all, not tease you all, but I did tell you all that we would do a Ableton Note, our final Ableton Note giveaway at the beginning of the stream. Shout out to Ableton one more time for supporting Beattober in such big ways. And I want to say hello, everybody. This is our call-in segment of the 24-hour live stream. We are on our 5 p.m.
24 minus 5, 19.
We are on hour 19 of a 24-hour stream. We have been live for 19 hours. Thank you all so much for hanging in there with us, having a good time with us. We have surpassed our $10,000 fundraising goal for the Music and Youth Initiative. That's huge. And now we're going to take your calls, because if you want to ask Claire a question, if you want to ask me a question, music production related, anything related to stuff that you think we might know about, call in. If you just want to call in and talk about your Beattober experience, that's totally valid as well. But first, it's time to do a Nightbot giveaway. So everybody, we're giving away a copy of Ableton Note to one lucky person that happens to have an iOS device, like an iPhone, an iPhone or an iPad. So if you want to win that code, all I'm going to need you to do is be ready in the chat when I say go and spam the chat.
Now I have the seconds counter on my laptop.
Oh, yeah, so we can accurately see it. Okay, maybe there's some advantage to it.
Yeah.
Okay, I'm refreshing Nightbot. Go spam the chat at 12 in 2 minutes. 12, 13, 40. 12, 13, 40. We will roll it. I'm not going to pull up my screen on this one because I don't feel like messing with the HDMIs. So as this giveaway is running, to win the Ableton Note, just make sure you have iOS, iPhone, or iPad. And when you win, if you win, please, you have to pretty much instantly tell me your Instagram handle so I can message you on Instagram, and later I can get you the code. I should be able to get all the Ableton codes out today. This is not our final Ableton prize of the 24-hour stream. We have a mega Ableton prize coming up in the next segment after this, which is music production trivia, a big fun competition game. You will all be able to participate from your phone, your computer, your whatever. Speed will matter, and the top winner of that, we'll have 5 top, but the number one winner will take home a $500 Ableton Live gift card. What do you want people to call in about?
Honestly, just like anything. But one thing that I would like to hear, actually, maybe this is even more of like from the educator side, is how people just experienced it. I think in general, like, was it tough for you? Because it certainly is for like most. I had a tough time too.
Me
like
too.
With this, yeah. But yeah, I think I'd love to hear about how folks thought this went. You know.
Yeah.
How about you?
That would be great to hear. And also if people have like tips for producers that are thinking of participating in the future, people that were on the fence, or like, I'm also interested in hearing, like, did you meet anybody through Beattober that you wouldn't have otherwise have met or collaborated with? Did you connect with the community in a deeper way during this? I'm curious to hear people's thoughts about future Beattobers, what would be fun, etc. You know, that sort of thing. We got to go ahead and roll it. And the giveaways are not going to stop because we got to do a retweet bounty, which we haven't done in a bit. But everybody's eligible for this. This is for Ableton Note. You must have an iOS device. You must, as soon as you see your name, as soon as I say your name, type your Instagram handle. That's Ian Conklin in chat.
Congratulations, Ian.
Conklin, congratulations. Please put your Instagram handle in the chat. Ian. And while that's happening, I'm going to go to Twitter and type this one. That's what I want. Call into our stream and ask us anything.
Ask us your music
Ask
production
us
or music
your
tech questions.
music
Music questions, yeah.
Music and artists questions. Artistic
Mm-hmm.
and creative.
Creative questions.
Creative questions. Did Ian type his Instagram handle?
He doesn't
I don't have Instagram.
Instagram.
Ian, how am I supposed to contact you from a verified source? How am I supposed to contact you on a verified source? So Ian, what you can do right now is email. Oh, making one right now. Okay, fine. I guess that's fine. That's better. No, I don't want to save that to Pinterest.
That is better because I mean you're verified on Instagram because otherwise you don't know if.
Then it's like you gotta email me this, and then we gotta in real time verify it, and it never, Oof. The scammers are quick with it. You know what I'm saying?
They are, yeah.
But yes, we are going to get to the call-ins, my friends. But if I'm being honest, one of the hardest things to manage of all of Beattober, and it sounds kind of like ironic, but it is the giveaways. It is figuring out how, when the companies are so generous and say you can have 5 of this plugin and 5 of that plugin, it's like, okay, yes, that's what I wanted, but also, how the hell am I going to give all these away?
Yeah.
And one of the ways we've been doing that, as you all know, is retweet bounty. So while Ian is getting his stuff set up, I need you all to go blast off this tweet over on my Twitter. One of you will win Native Instruments Playbox. I think that's the final copy of Playbox that we have. We'll give away that final copy. Playbox is a cool collection of sounds. Go blast off with retweets. In about 10 minutes or something, I'll pick a random retweeter. And then at the end of this stream, as if this wasn't complicated enough, we will be giving away not 1, but 2 prizes to a single person. We will be giving away a, where are we? FL Key and FL Studio license. So if you are a producer who maybe has a lower version of FL Studio or wants to get into FL Studio at all, this is the giveaway for you. Stick around to the end of the chat and we'll give that away. It's like a little bundle action.
Yay.
You all are blasting off the tweet. Ian, what happened here? You're making one right now. You get on that. And if you write my name in chat, like TAETRO, TAETRO, it shows up to me in orange. So it's really easy for me to see it. So Ian, once you make your Instagram, just kind of make yourself known in chat and let me know the handle and we'll catch up. We have many people waiting in our waiting room. You all did a good job. So here's how the call-in show works. If you're new and you just kind of don't know, I need to check email quick. Yeah, that's fine. Probably just need to verify your account or something. I'm here all stream. I'm here until 5 p.m. So you'll be able to get in touch with me if you're in chat. So the way the call-in stream works is there is a Zoom link posted to the top of the stream chat. You can jump in on that Zoom link. You don't get immediately put on stream, so don't freak out. Also, you don't have to worry about your video being on screen. We did do that earlier with some of the bounty winners. We won't do that. You'll just be audio. You will need to mute the stream when it comes your time to come on to the call. Mute the stream. Listen to myself and Claire via Zoom, and you'll be broadcast out to everybody. I do recommend that if you're in this waiting room now, you should double check your audio input and output device. So once we bring it in, it's a nice smooth thing. Like I said, we're talking Beattober, we're talking creativity, we're talking music production, anything you think that we can help with or share some insight with, or if you have a way to bring value to the community through your experience through Beattober, things like that. Got it?
That's very Massachusetts. Got it? Sorry.
I thought, go ahead. Go ahead. There's like, go ahead.
Yeah, go ahead.
Like,
there's
go ahead.
There's, what else is there? My khakis?
My God, yeah. If you, not all the time. That's a little
Sometimes.
Boston-ish.
Boston.
Yeah.
Coffee. No, that's New York. Sorry. Now I'm getting
yeah,
confused.
they're kind of closely related.
Lived too long in New York,
So we're gonna go ahead and do the tweet. We're gonna do the tweet winner. You won Playbox. Tweet Picker with peace and love. If you got there quick, great. You got there quick and you're eligible for this giveaway. Play box. Continue. Begin the draw. The winner is Kartik is the winner.
Congratulations.
Wow. The frustrating thing is I cannot just copy and paste this handle. Boom.
Congratulations.
Congrats. Can you take over the stream while I go answer that door?
Sure. Absolutely. Should I just put like congrats to and then yeah. Okay. Congrats, Kartik. You won Playbox. Hold on. Let me just move and I'll type. Let's see. Oh god. You won Playbox. Yay. Cool. Congrats. Yay. Congrats to Kartik. Let me just write their handle also in the chat. One sec. Can I right click with that? No, I can't. Let's do control click. Cool. Whoop. Control click. There we go. Okay. On Twitter. You won Play Box. Sorry, all my arms are like, it's funny, like just now TAETRO was wondering if my arms are like long. But I think it was just the lighting. My arms are definitely very short as compared to TAETRO's, as you've seen from me reach for the techno button. And I need to actually reach for it. He just kind of like stays in the same position and then touches it. But since he's gone right now, I don't see any. Oh no, he's back. I was just about to say we should play some techno, but he's back, so we won't.
Talking smack?
No, I wanted to play some techno.
Oh.
To celebrate again.
Only for a new donation.
Okay.
That was the FedEx guy. By the time I got down there, he was gone.
FedEx?
And it was, like,
I see.
signature.
Okay, yeah. Yay.
All right. We gave away the Twitter thing. Ian is gonna let us know his Instagram handle. My mods and fellow friends in chat are gonna help me if I miss Ian's message. Mm-hmm. And you have to move this way.
Oh, okay.
You don't have to, but if you want to be more centered in the shot.
That's all right.
All right, so everybody, we got callers calling in. If you feel a little shy about calling in, don't. It's very low key, very chill. I think we're very nice people. You only heard me pop off a couple times. You only heard Claire pop off a couple times. And it's honestly fun to pop off live. So
is it? I found it quite stressful. I don't really like to do it, but man, that Athens person, we will name him again because he deserves it. See, he was a bumhole.
The circumstances if the circumstances for which popping off, that caused the popping off could not exist, that would be the ideal case scenario. However, they do exist, so we might as well,
I suppose, yes.
have a little fun with it, I guess. I don't know. If we can. All right, Diva is going to be our first call. Diva, I'm bringing you in. Show them how it's done. Mute the stream. Have your audio input and output device ready. I have faith in you. Don't worry about connecting your camera or anything. And Diva is connecting, but muted. So we're going to unmute. And Diva's here.
Yay. Hi, Diva. Hello.
I can't believe I'm the first one. I was hoping I wouldn't be. Thank you.
You were literally the first one to join the. Oh, you can't hear.
No, it's okay. I'm gonna grab my headphones.
Hold on, Claire is grabbing headphones.
Thank you.
And then she'll be able to hear you.
Thanks.
Hello, Diva. Thank you for calling in.
Thank you guys for having me. Okay, so my question might be a little bit loaded, but I'm gonna try to simplify it. But essentially, I grew up in elementary school and middle school up until 9th grade. I would take music classes. And at some point I was really shy, so I stopped, and I didn't become interested again until much later in my 20s. And I recently got a MIDI keyboard because I have two friends that taught me how to DJ with vinyl last year, but I only have one turntable. So my question basically is, what would you recommend for somebody like me that in early childhood did dabble in music because of school, but kind of when you practice something as a kid and then you lose it at some point, it's really difficult to get back into it. So for me, it's been like, oh, what part do I focus on so I can have like a better grasp? Kind of like how you had at some point in the stream, there was a conversation about like learning the tools behind a program or something, and then kind of like going off because you know the basics. So that's kind
Yeah.
of like my question was, if that makes sense.
Well, I wonder, what do you want to do? Like, you love music. Do you have like a particular avenue you want to go? Like, you want to make instrumentals, you want to be a songwriter and produce your own songs. Like, you want to maybe score, media like films,
I
commercials. Like,
at,
what do you want to do?
at first I wanted the MIDI because I'm in my last year in film school. am doing documentary production and I make videos, and I was kind of tired of like looking for songs that were royalty free. Like I thought they were
Yeah.
really boring. So I was like, that okay, I want to make that kind of music. And then I feel like because I'm coming from the sense of like, oh, I'm a audience member. Like I'm just really into listening to all kinds of music. I want to make my own music, if that makes sense.
Of course.
But I don't really have like an idea of like what kind of instrument I would want to play or anything, just because of that. Like my first background was just like the mandated music classes in my schools growing up, essentially.
I think like the thing that drew me to production that was different than like other avenues, like especially in music education, like even when I was a kid, was like, you with music production, like it kind of lends itself to the contemporary. Like you can go and try to recreate a song that you heard on the radio today, or a song that you just really like. You can maybe even find a production tutorial with the actual producer of it, a lot of times now. So if you just love music, first of all, you're coming from an amazing place, just loving music and wanting to like be in music somehow, whether it's with your vinyl, whether it's connected to your film stuff, or whether you got your MIDI keyboard and you want to like make some tunes. But I think for you, it sounds like a little bit of exploration, like, and also like we talk about it often in terms of like career sometimes, because it kind of like is our careers. It doesn't necessarily have to be a career for you, and especially at the start, like if it's very difficult for like if you're just getting back into it to even make it a career. So just like put any like pressure that's associated with making it a career or making it like overly serious like on the back burner, and I would say start doing some exploration and figure out what you actually like. You got your MIDI keyboard
Yeah.
already, why not like pull open your DAW and like try to think about, well, first of all, learn the basics of that DAW, but try to think about recreating one of the songs that you're really into right now, or even just recreating one of the sounds, or just doing a little
Yeah.
look into like what even went into the production of that song and latching on to an aspect of that. I don't know if you have any advice.
Yeah, I'm pretty much in agreement. And also thanks for sharing about your background with us. I think that's really helpful for context. A couple of people also just mentioned in the chat that they're in the same pool. So thank you for sharing. I think this will apply to like a lot of folks too. I would say also, it can kind of be challenging sometimes to kind of retrain the muscle if you frame it that way, because previously you mentioned that you've done it a lot, right? So the muscle is there, which is good to know, but I'd say just be patient with yourself and also just re-getting that too. I think sometimes a lot of people, when they try to get back to something that they used to be able to do, and the same thing is true for me too, there's a lot of pressure and there's a lot of like stress to get back very quickly and to like bounce back like almost immediately and just kind of keep resuming. But I think it's cool to also just take your time, especially in the beginning, when you're just kind of entering this world, especially through a different perspective. So yeah, be patient with yourself. I would also say maybe if anything, what TAETRO mentioned about thinking about which direction you want to go in is super helpful too, because there are so many directions in which you could go.
Yeah.
Right. Like even for the both of us, we describe ourselves as like many different things, like producer, content
It changes
creator,
depending on the
YouTuber.
day.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it totally changed, and even on the situation too. Like there's sometimes, for example, for my case, like in the morning I teach, and then at night I'm like artist, so it's very
Right.
different. And it takes time to be able to navigate that. Like I'm still trying to figure it out. Also, I think all of us are, regardless of how long we've been in this industry, trying to figure it out in some way. So yeah.
And the moral of that
Yeah.
is like you don't have to necessarily do one thing.
Yeah.
I think we happen to be in a position where, you know, our skill set lends itself to a number of different things. And I think in the music industry in general now, that's kind of where it's at. It's passionate people that are interested in multiple things. Like if you already are doing film stuff too, like think of the advantages that that probably gives you once you start getting into music. And just embrace that. Don't feel like you have to be pigeonholed, and you can have more fun doing the exploration, figuring out what you're doing. If there's just no pressure to like turn it into something more than it needs to be. Like it doesn't need to be a career right now. It just needs to be you figuring out what you love. And don't view yourself like as if you're in a disadvantaged position because you were into music and then you kind of fell off and now you're rediscovering it. Like you wouldn't have that mindset if you never had that experience when you were younger and were just started to get into music now for the first time. So you're not really at a disadvantage. You would only be at a disadvantage if you are comparing yourself to maybe other people your age or other people in a similar circumstance, which there's no need for that comparison at all. Like it's you against you. So you're just getting back on the horse. You're doing your thing. You're not at a disadvantage. It's lucky that you rediscovered this passion. This passion actually,
absolutely.
So it's a good thing.
I really appreciate that. That was really good advice. Thank you guys.
Thank you for calling in, and thanks for being an awesome member of the community.
Thank you. It's been a lot of fun tuning in.
I'm so glad. All right, have a good one, Diva. Thank you for calling.
Bye. Have a good day, guys.
Bye.
Thank you. I can't believe. Yeah, that was a great call. I was going to say, I can't believe I missed the FedEx guy.
Oh no!
I was just had that thought again after we got off that call. It like brought me back to the reality of where we are, and I was like, "Oh, I just missed the FedEx guy."
Are you able to call him back?
No,
or?
And my doorbell thing didn't even go off, and he rang it. He rang it at 12:20, and I was down there at 12:20. He took off.
Wow.
But he'll come back tomorrow. He was in a rush, I guess. All right, NJ Lang is up next. I see you all in the waiting room. By the way, if you are curious about calling in, that Zoom link is at the top of the description, top of the chat, I should say. And don't forget that we have music production trivia happening later today around 3 p.m. PST in a few hours. And don't forget that we have music production. That guy sounds cool that I hear in the background.
Oh,
how's it going, my friend?
Hey, how you doing?
I'm doing well. Thank you for calling in. NJ?
Yes.
All right. Amazing. Welcome to the stream.
I did something kind of interesting for this month of October. I started off, I made a few beats, but then I got busy making a beat making arcade machine.
I literally read your comment earlier, and then 100 things to focus on.
Yes.
Tell me more on what is it? Like, what is it exactly?
Well, it's a full size arcade machine with a MIDI fighter and a Rolly light block and some more arcade buttons and a joystick and touchscreen monitor. Has a video marquee on it, and it integrates with the software Endless. I don't know if you've heard of that.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
I've heard of it, but I haven't seen it.
It's great.
They have apps, like iOS apps? Yeah.
Yes.
So what goes into, like, did you have to like set up a certain, I don't know what to call it, like a certain template in Endless, or like, is it super malleable and how you can like program it, or?
It's just Endless Studio on Windows and on Mac desktop. You can just control everything from keyboard characters or MIDI input. So it's just MIDI mapped to the arcade controls.
Nice. Oh, that's pretty cool. So this thing is like full arcade cabinet size?
Yes.
That's like a whole nother Beattober challenge. Who else can say they built a arcade machine?
So I wanted to call in because it's actually here in LA. I just brought it in from Kansas City.
You're traveling with this thing?
That's awesome.
Well, one time because it's now at Baron Davis's studios in West Adams.
Oh.
So he bought it. It's the first one that anyone has outside.
So are you making them to like sell them, or is this a one-time thing? Like, are you thinking about doing it again?
It's a possibility that we will be doing that because this is the third one that we've made now since I had the idea back in March.
Wow, March is
And-
not that long ago, and you've already
That's
made
crazy.
3.
That's awesome.
Yeah, we made the first one, and then they at Endless, they're headquartered in London, and they kind of saw the progress as I was building it, and they were like, "Hey, we're coming to New York City in the end of June, I think it was." And so we took that one to NFT NYC, and it went over really well. And then they made another one that they took to Portugal, and then that's where Baron Davis saw it, and that's why we made a third one, because he wanted one.
That's awesome. Yeah, I saw your chat, and it's in LA, and I am super fried, especially by the time that
Yeah.
this stream will end from a full month of
Understandable.
October. Like, if I can make it work, I don't know how long it's in LA for or something, but if you want to shoot me a message on Instagram, if I can check it out, it sounds like it would be really cool. But the honest truth is, like, I probably won't be able to make time for it, because here's what happens: Beattober happens, and I gotta do a rat race of, like, get all the regular stuff done and get Beattober done. But then I also have to, not everything fits, so I have to push some stuff to after Beattober. So then I gotta catch up once Beattober is over. So the rat race doesn't really stop. It's like playing a game of catch up. But it does sound like a cool thing. So if I can make something happen, if I can get out, then yes. But that's really cool that you called in
Very
about
cool.
it. And maybe like, if it's not this time around, there will be like other opportunities to check it out in the future or something.
Yeah, for sure.
Do you have like a link where you share it? Like any, like a handle that you can shout out if you share pictures or any work progress on it?
On Twitter and Instagram, the Endless account is Endless with 3 S's FM. So Endless FM with 3 S's and Endless.
Do they have anything about the arcade machine on there?
Yeah. There's a bunch of stuff on there, and
Perfect.
I think I tagged you on Twitter to one of them.
Awesome. All right, I will check that out. My friend NJ Lang, thank you so much for calling in. That sounds really cool. I'm going to check it out later.
Thank you.
Yep. Thanks.
Have a good one.
You too.
Okay, we're moving on. We got Rashane calling in. I got to pour myself some water. So while Rashane gets, you can greet Rashane perhaps.
Yeah, for sure.
And I'm going to grab some water. Rashane,
Let's see.
welcome to the stream.
Rashane, don't forget to mute
The
yourself,
microphone
please.
is coming. Don't forget to mute yourself.
Sorry, not to mute yourself, to mute the stream. Yeah, Rashane.
Hello.
Hi.
Can you hear me?
Yes, we can hear you
Okay.
loud and clear. Welcome. And congrats again on your award. Yeah.
Thank you. Thank you.
Yeah, for sure. Anything that you wanted to ask us or like share, stuff like that?
I was just calling to talk to you guys just because I couldn't make it in last night.
Yeah, for sure.
And what else? Oh, I would say Beachtober this year has been fun. I like all the new additions we've done, and I had a thought, it just escaped me. I guess what do you guys think you might add or change for next year so far, or you haven't thought about that yet?
Like change for Beattober?
Yeah.
Well,
Or what was something you wanted to do but just didn't have time to?
I would love to do some type of in-person event. Maybe it's not next year. Maybe it's 2 years from now. Maybe it's some type of live thing that's going to happen. Would be dope. That's a big what if. I know somebody wrote this in one of the suggestions, but getting the merch out sooner. Yes. Like anything. First of all, last year I learned a lot. And when I had Joe's help last year, that kind of set me up for success this year, because I knew, even though there was a lot that needed to be done, at least I knew I had a more organized way of getting it done based on what we had done last year. I think this year
Gotcha.
is kind of the same thing, where it's like that to the next level, the evolution of that. Having Claire here, that is something we should definitely continue.
We'd love to. Next year, add Joe. Then it's 3 of us.
Yeah, and even if it could be more and more in-person involvement, even beyond the
Yeah.
24-hour stream, like anything.
Yeah, see, Amelia agreed too. I didn't see it.
Amelia said,
Add Joe, so it's a trio.
yeah, and if Joe is available and in
If
the
he's
country,
available, yeah. Otherwise, Joe will be in Korea.
yeah. Preemptive merch would be great. I agree. I got to do better on the merch. I think the designs were fantastic this year. The logistics of it were a little
Yeah.
complicated. perhaps just the Beattober Awards, I think were cool. I think even if that wasn't an in-person event, if I could do a better if we could have more fun with the presentation of it.
Yeah.
Like if it was like almost a Apple keynote style event. We talked about potentially doing green screen earlier.
Yeah, for sure.
But like, and that is possible.
Oh, that would have been funny.
Yeah, like funny stuff like that, like up the production value, I think would be cool. The cool thing about it is like we set such a great precedent last year, and which helped me reach out to brands this year. This year is going to bolster that even more for next year. So that's going to help a lot going forward. But I can't say I've had really enough time to process because I'm
Not
sure there's
yet.
lots of cool things.
Yeah.
And a lot of the ideas, to be honest, that made this Beattober even better came 1 month before.
Yeah. Like we're in hour number 19 now, not even done yet. So I think that maybe more ideas will come like later.
They for sure will. And one thing was, as these ideas were coming, I was in like our Discord chatting, what ideas do people have? And then I was like talking about how, I had to build the website and I don't know what I'm doing and all this stuff. And everybody was jumping in being like, oh, hey, I do like web dev for this. Or like,
Awesome.
so like, I think next year building out maybe not a huge team, but like I can have some community members help out and we can like not all the giveaway stuff has to be like random giveaways. I could potentially put together packages for people that are going to help with Beattober or something like that. So that's something that comes to mind off the bat. What would you change, Rashane? What would you change?
Change. I don't know about change, but I like the addition of the awards. It was good to have it. Besides just like striving to improve, it was cool to like, I did a thing that might fit this and go out and just participate. I would say, as far as merch, having smaller beanies would be cool next year. If that's possible.
I agree. I have the beanie and I like fold it a bunch of times. My nephew taught me how to do that, like fold it so it was like that. It is very hard to find. First of all, I like brimless caps anyway. It's very hard to find anybody that produces those. It's very hard to find people that produce like a fisherman's beanie, like a smaller beanie. But yes, I agree. That would be great. They're like
and I think
go
ahead.
for it. No, you go.
I was gonna say, one thing that came to mind was since like Instagram kind of changed up some stuff on the web for you this year, and you had to use Twitter, which was good as a backup and worked out really well. But also having some type of way for us to do a weekly roundup of like what people did for the week would have been cool, since it's now a little harder to find certain things.
Yes, that is the bummer of using Instagram. On one hand, it's like I want you all posting on Instagram because like that's where you should be as artists, getting your work out. It can only benefit you. On the other hand, it all gets lost to the feed. It doesn't get lost to the feed. You'll see it on your page, but like, I don't know. There could be something better. Like I have even had thoughts of, and I don't even know what this means. Like, could there be a Beattober app that is like its own thing that people have profiles and post to or something?
Well,
that's such a pie in the sky. I have no idea what that even means or if it would be better. But
I'm just saying this because like it's right at the top of my head now. But we can look into what are their names? Make Music Day. Because I've done those days before where it's like people make music like on a day in the States, like all around the country, but they have a nice system on their website to like look at all the entries. I'll look into that because I've done that before. But yeah, that would be super cool.
Yeah,
I think, or maybe potentially it's maybe I'm oversimplifying it too, but maybe a specific year hashtag like Beattober 2023.
The problem with the hashtag is clicking on the
that's
hashtags
true, yeah.
now.
It'll do, yeah.
You don't see everything.
Yeah. That's true. It'll still do that. So
Twitter luckily worked out this year.
yeah.
I don't love it. Is a little challenging to communicate. Show up to the YouTube stream, post it to Instagram, but then link it to me on Twitter. Like that whole is just so convoluted. It worked out this year, luckily, but it is like when I have the laundry list of things to communicate. This is the giveaway happening. This is the cause we're supporting. This is the sponsor today. This is what you need to do. It's like so hard. So I'll be looking at ways of simplifying it, making the bounties more simple, clearer. I think the Jamstick bounty was really successful this year. I think the other bounties were just maybe a little too complicated. And if anybody else calling in has has input on that, like
Yeah.
I think keeping them simple. The one good thing was everybody had very advanced notice this year, but advanced notice doesn't really help if it's like a little too complicated to participate in. That's what I got.
Nice. Yeah, that was the only question I had.
All right. Well, thank you, Rashane, for calling in,
Thanks,
and congrats on your
Rashane.
Beattober award win. I'm going to be
Yay.
reaching
Yeah,
out to
that's
all
great.
the award winners. Please, all the award winners, please be patient. First week in November, let me catch my breath.
Okay.
I'll get to
Will
you.
do, yeah.
And then I got to go to the post office. You know how much I hate the post office? And I pay for
Really?
stamps.com. And I have a PO box too, and I like hate going to the post office.
Oh, thank God.
Anyway, congrats, Rashane. Thank you for calling in. Thank you for being
Yay.
awesome.
Thanks,
Thanks,
Everybody.
yeah.
Rashane.
And,
See ya.
yeah, and thank you too for the 24 hours. It's been great.
Heck yeah. Well, we hope we'll make it. See ya.
Right.
Lit. Amazing. All right. We did Rashane. We got Frank. Frank is calling in from where? Maybe he'll tell us from where. We're connecting to audio. People in chat, don't be shy. Feel free to call into the stream. But also, if there's questions in between that you want to type in chat, we can also answer those. Hey, Frank, how's it going?
Hey, what's going on, guys?
What's going on? Thank you so much for calling in.
I just wanted to thank you guys for all that you've done, and
Thank you.
I'm sure the kids will definitely appreciate it. You've got a great community, and I'm proud to now become a part of it.
I'm happy to have you. Thank you so much for all the
Thank
support.
you. Yay.
Yeah, that's really the only reason I called in, to tell you guys congratulations, and what a good job that you guys did.
Wow,
Thank you so much. Yay.
I appreciate
Yeah.
that a lot.
And leverage your Discord for things like the Beatober videos. You can make a channel for it and everything.
Yeah, like we have that too, but even that's difficult because you got to scroll through it, and then people
Yeah.
are commenting on certain ones, so then it's
And then it
like
bumps
it
up the-
gets
yeah.
all But
Mm.
yeah, we do the Discord stuff too. There's no perfect solution yet, I don't think. Besides, if we could have a dedicated platform of our own, something like that. I don't know, but yeah, I see what you're saying, and what you say about like the kids are gonna appreciate it 100%. And the thing about it is, like, I worked in these programs. One thing I want to separate the kids as much as possible, not to shelter them or anything, but like I don't want it to feel it shouldn't feel like charity. Kids should be able to show up to these places and feel like they deserve to have these places, not like somebody, not saying that anybody in this community does this or anything, not saying like, oh, somebody pities these kids or somebody like whatever. It's just a community resource that should exist on its own, that like if our government and our culture like valued like arts and valued like youth development as a means of having a more, fruitful society, they would fund it, but instead it's left to nonprofits with these grand missions to do it. So like my thing as a director was like, I would never tell the kids like, oh, this was donated by this person or this was donated by that. And I'm not looking for that. And I hope, and I don't think anybody in the community is looking for it to be like, oh, this is the TAETRO community clubhouse. We don't need the name on the library treatment. They are going to appreciate it. They never have to know where it came from, how it happened. They should just know that they deserve it. They deserve the opportunities, and that with those opportunities, they'll go and make great things, and we'll live in a better world for it. That's my thing.
100%.
Frank, thank you so much for all
Thank you,
the support
Frank.
this year, and thank you
Yes.
for calling in.
Thank you so much.
You got it. Have a good one, guys.
You too.
See ya. Thank you.
Great.
Cool. Do you want to...
Oh, would we have questions? All right. Yes, I did see that Ian made an Instagram. Thank you. I see you all. Did I miss any other questions behind that?
That's it, I think.
Everybody was very supportive of Ian.
Yeah,
but they don't know that
Ian.
Ian is in the call.
Ian's also in the call, yeah.
Well, I got it. I even have it copied to my clipboard, so don't worry. Carlos is up next.
Please meet this
Thank you,
way.
Amelia. Oh, not Carlos. His name's Dan.
I can never. I always forget to change the Zoom name.
No problem. So like, Dan used to call in. He was much shorter and had a much higher voice. And then one day he called in, and I was like, I know this room, but I like don't know this person. And then I looked closer, and I was like, oh, It's the same kid, just probably like 2 feet taller.
That's awesome.
What's up?
Yay.
Only like 2 inches taller. Hey,
Hey, hello.
I wanted to call in to ask. So, I'm making a lot of music recently, and I recently started to release it, right? But the thing is, whenever I make music, it falls into two categories. One category is, okay, it's good, I like it, I'm gonna work on it. Then the other category is, it's horrible and I never want to ever see it again.
Mm-hmm.
And this keeps happening constantly. Where I'll make one day I'll make a really good track, and I'll work on it the next day and I'll still like it, right? Then the next day I work on a track, but then it just ends up being horrible, and I just feel bad because I just wasted time doing something that I just not happy with. So my question is, how do I say this? Like, improve my workflow so I don't end up hating my music at the end of the day.
I'll let you take it first.
Yeah, sure. Thanks so much for coming forward with that, Dan. I think it's really important that we discuss that, and a couple of people in the chat are already saying like kind of they feel the same way too. But I kind of like to think of it in this way, right? Like when you spend time working on stuff that you know that you don't like, it's completely worth it. It's 100% worth it. I feel the same way too. Sometimes I make stuff and it's like I don't like what I did, but I think it's worth doing it because now you know what you don't like. And as a producer, as an artist, that's going to help you grow a ton, because then it also lets you recognize what you really like. And I'm so glad that just now you mentioned the categories, because that means you're already much further ahead than a lot of other people. You know what you want to do with your music, and you know what doesn't really work for you, right? So I would say on those days where you feel like, okay, I've made something bad, I don't really like it, that's okay. You can accept that. It's okay to be uncomfortable with the stuff that we make. Totally fine. And then move on. I think it's a great way to kind of also almost add that to, the list of achievements in a way that you have done. Because for you to be able to say, okay, I know what direction I want to go in, or at least I know what I don't want to do. I know where I don't want to go in. That's a huge step already. All right. So I think if you're able to hold on to that, that's going to be great. Yeah. Do you want to maybe like jump on?
Yeah, I think just jumping off of what you said about, first of all, you're in this camp of like, at least you have music that you know that you've made that you know you like.
Yeah.
And then of course we're gonna make stuff. I mean, I'm making music on stream like all the time. Like half of it I'm not using, or like it's meant to be a demo, but like half of it starts as like when I was working on the SP404 this morning, it was kind of all just crap. And sometimes you just have days like that, and you can't emotionally feel bad about it. At least in that moment, for me, what did I take from that? I was learning more about my workflow. I was getting more fluent on the instrument. Like there's still positive spins, but what you should do is be very deliberate about identifying those things that you do not like and the things that you really do like. And it's easy for us as producers to fall into habits, right? So if there's stuff that you in a production that you don't like, try to figure out, how did you get there? Oh, I got there because I chose this type of drum sound, or I got there because, or I got to this feeling because the mix is just like super muddy when I'm mixing these kinds of instruments together. If you're deliberate about that, you can find things that you can find either like skills that you need to improve. Maybe it's like you need to get better at mixing these things, or you can basically hone your taste where it's like, oh, I don't like this because I chose that drum sound. Why did I choose that drum sound?
Yeah.
I don't like this drum sound. And then remembering that for next time, because I know, like for me, habits, you go into your sample library. Sometimes we can scroll through 1,000 samples and click on sample number 572 every single time, just because we're like on this cycle, like this subconscious cycle of grabbing stuff. And it's like, oh, it's because I started working with this thing that I didn't like it. So even if it's like a little notebook, don't just keep it all in your head, a little note on your phone, like, I don't like it's almost like a journal entry. I worked on this track today. I don't like it. And I don't like it because X, Y, and Z. Now, if you never even look at that note again, you're going to remember having taken that note. And when you sit down and make the next thing, I've caught myself doing this. I sit down, I start to make a track, and I'm doing something. And I'm like, no. The last time I did this, the track was garbage and this was not the direction I needed to go. So let me change my habit. Yeah, but if you're not deliberate about that and you just like every time like kind of fall into the same habit and you're like, I can't figure out why. It's like, well, it's because you picked the same bass sound every time that doesn't work for what you want to do. So just like little notes like that. And then it's also the things that you do like. I really like this track. Okay, why do you really like this track that you made? Or why do you really like this track that somebody else made? You know?
Yeah.
Get specific with it.
Yeah. I actually have like a journal I recently got, so I'm gonna try and use it for that.
Yeah, it's a perfectly applicable like thing for music producers. Like sometimes journaling can feel like a little weird. Like I've never been able to like recount my day journaling or anything, but having a deliberate like notebook that's for creative thoughts, like or creative like things you want to remember. I mean, that's huge. Yeah.
Yeah, thanks.
You can do it, my friend.
Yeah. Thanks, Dan.
I'll talk to you soon. Talk to you on the next call in probably whenever it happens. Have a good one. Thank you for calling in.
Thanks.
Bye.
That was a great question.
You and Dan have the same red control freak.
Oh yeah, yay! That was from last year.
Yes.
Yay.
Can I share with you an irrational thing?
Sure.
I think it's just from being like exhausted, both like emotionally and physically.
Yeah.
I feel like I disappointed the FedEx guy. I feel like I disappointed him
Wow.
by not getting
You're still
downstairs.
thinking about the FedEx guy. Wow.
Because I looked at him on the doorbell and he looked so in a rush and disappointed.
Well, it's a Sunday. He may have been off to, I don't know, be
It's
with
such
his
a
family.
dumb. Why do I feel like I
stuff.
disappointed?
That's
the,
okay.
The
Don't
FedEx
don't
guy?
worry. That FedEx guy disappointed you by
Yes,
leaving.
exactly.
So
And first of all, you came into a gated yard. I don't need to sign it. Leave it at my door. What do I need to sign it for?
yeah,
Anyway,
don't worry. It's all good.
we got Bobby Limes up next. The FedEx guy is not thinking about it. Don't worry. You're right, Felton. Bobby Limes is going to set his input audio device, I hope. I know Bobby Limes is coming off of a bender from the previous nights. Maybe it's 2 nights ago. And my best tutorial for you is in the Zoom window. In the bottom left, there's a microphone icon and a little arrow there. If you click that and you go to select a microphone and you select the one that is good for you, you're on your phone, I can tell. So you're using the mobile app, slightly more complicated. This is not Bobby's problem. I'm convinced this is a Zoom problem because multiple people call in. Why, if people use their phones, would Zoom not be able to just work?
I usually use Zoom quite a lot on my phone, but I'm wondering if
A lot of people have the same problem. TAETRO is legit. Why to say TAETRO is legit? It is legit. Bobby Limes, we got audio.
yeah.
How are you, my friend? Can you hear us?
Yes.
Perfect. Welcome to the stream. Thank you for all your support during Beattober. Tell me about what happened last night.
Thank you. Sorry, I'm turning down my iPad. Sorry.
No problem.
Just had a nice Halloween party for the first time. My German girlfriend had a nice American style Halloween party. Super fun.
Wow. Nice.
So my brain's not all quite there yet.
That's okay.
I'm kind of in the same ship as you guys are.
Yay.
Super glad you guys are doing this. So super cool. I just had a quick question, kind of in the same vein as the first question. So I've kind of been moving from like the beginner stage to the intermediate stage, started releasing music. And I found that I like too many genres. I really like making lo-fi or house. How do you guys decide which genres of music to release, or how varied your releases should be? Is there any strategy to that, or any other notes you have for, I don't know, your audience?
I don't think I have all the answers, but I've been really deliberate with myself and my music over the past 2, maybe 3 years of like it fitting into this sort of like sometimes lo-fi instrumental beats, maybe semi-inspirational or at least emotional, they all fit into this kind of world, right? And when I'm working on a piece of music, like there was the beat that I was working on like just before this call-in stream, and it was like this kind of like harder hitting trap beat kind of thing. Definitely not something I would release under my name as TAETRO. Like, why am I making it? Well, I'm enjoying making it. Maybe someday it'll get used for something. But at the end of the day, I'm making it because I enjoy making it, and it's fun to like do on stream with people. So, and then for maybe last year or the year before, I wanted to do like more like hyper pop, kind of harder electronic stuff with singing on it. And I had this thing. It's like, do I need to like transition TAETRO into this new, completely different kind of artist thing, or do I need to come up with a different name? What I landed on was come up with a completely different name, because TAETRO already has this brand identity. I'm not referring to myself in the third person. I'm talking about like the entity that is TAETRO online or whatever, right? It already has this very clear branding, this very clear whatever around it. And if I want to evolve from that, you can't just do it over. You can't just go from lo-fi, chill, inspirational kind of beats to hyper pop, like vocal stuff. Your audience is going to hate it. It's going to be very hard for you to find new audience members, that kind of thing. So, but there was a time during TAETRO, like even when this channel started, where I was just all over the place with what I was making. It was kind of genre-less. It was just kind of like your generic, like I make electronic music in Ableton kind of music. Like you can't really like pin it down. Like it's just like when I made the transition from deciding this is the kind of music I want to make as TAETRO, something that you're talking about, like, oh, you like a lot of genres. Me too. I like a lot of genres. The genre I listen to the most out of anything is K-pop. You don't hear me making like K-pop music. Like, you know what I mean? Or even I listen to like pop rock bands. You don't really hear me making that either. But you might hear a little tiny influence of those in some of my stuff, even though you might not be able to directly trace it back. So I will say it was transformative for me when I grew out of that amateurish stage of just like making genreless electronic music to deliberately trying to make a certain kind of music. And for you, you just have to figure out what is that certain kind of music. And maybe there's two that you're really passionate about, so you have two different artist names. Or maybe you're really able to be clear about what influences from what and what doesn't make. If there's context for what you're making out there, like you don't have to homogenize, but you should be at least able to point to like, if people listen to these artists, they'll listen to me. Or if people listen to this playlist, my music could fit on this playlist. Like you can think of it that way. Doesn't mean you can't evolve from that in the future, but think about that, because if your music if you can't point to a single other artist and be like I could be on a playlist with this artist, or I could suggest it to somebody who likes this artist, then you're kind of like totally genreless. There should be at least one artist you can think of. You know? Do you have thoughts about like refining?
Yeah, sure, 100%. I don't think I have all of the same answers, Bobby, all of the right answers either, but I'm definitely in the same boat too. Like I do a lot of genres. I think, in my experience, what has worked for me is that I actually do make pretty much whatever genre I want to, but for me, it's important to have a thread that goes deeper than those genres. So for me, that's my songwriting, and that's my composition and the way that I present things, right? So for example, most of the time when people think of dolltr, they think of like a couple of overarching ideas, like, you know, there's some vocal thing, there is like a live electronic performance element to the presentation of a lot of my songs. And that is also very tied to like just generally what I love to do in electronic music anyway, which is live electronic performance. So I think it might be cool to even just if you decide that you aren't able to, you know, focus on a single genre, maybe there's something deeper there that can be found. And I don't think it'll be easy to find it. It took me so long to actually kind of like admit to myself that my thread was my songwriting or like my composition, and vocals, like me actually doing the vocals for that, right? Rather than writing something and then passing it off to somebody else. So I think it's tricky. I'll also maybe add this. I don't know if it's helpful necessarily, or it might be helpful. I don't necessarily prescribe to it, but I have a colleague, Ed, who goes by Mr. Ed Rollo. I think you might, maybe you know him too. Mr. Ed Rollo. So He's also an Ableton certified trainer, but he kind of positions this in a very straightforward type of manner where it's like, okay, if you know that you want to achieve a certain specific goal, like let's say I want to be on the same playlist as blah 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 artists, which is what TAETRO mentioned just now, then you have your goal, and that's all that every single thing that you do should be adding up to that goal. And if that goal means, making a very specific type of, let's say, a techno or something, right? Then you're, as an artist, doing everything, acknowledging that, and then doing everything that you can to get to that goal. So I think that's another way that can potentially work for different people. This is such a tricky question because I think like there are so many approaches to it.
But doing it, what you just said, frees you up from this indecision and frees you up from like having to make too many random decisions. Like if you want to stand next to these artists, you need to be looking at what's the average song length of all these artists? What's the average song structure? What are the aesthetics? What are the sound choices in this general genre? What do I like out of those sound choices? What does the artwork look like amongst the artists in these genres? What are some common threads? And I'm not trying to sell you a channel membership. However, we did a channel members only workshop specifically on a couple things, and it's like identifying things from your influences, and there's one that's about finding your unique voice as an artist, which is kind of exactly this. And what I do in those workshops is like break down like my process, like how, like I had to answer this question for myself. What is the TAETRO sound? And that in that workshop is like me kind of breaking that down and playing like direct references. And there's like an aha moment in there where I take like two artists that you would probably not associate with each other, and it's like, wait, this artist is using that same like cool sound, and this artist is using that cool same sound. That's why I like this sound. And like that's where it comes from, and just knowing all that is like super helpful. But yeah, be deliberate. Don't make genreless. I make electronic music.
Yeah, I think it's if at least for yeah, I agree. I think like it's in the context of, sometimes when you I'm trying to think of the best way to phrase it. I think it's okay to make different genres, but embrace, like, acknowledge that, and don't just be like, I make, a thing.
I make
don't know.
all the genres.
Yeah. I'm trying to find the best way to phrase that, if that makes sense. There's like a connotation to what I'm trying to say. If I think of a better way to explain it, Bobby, I will let you know.
It's if I buy, if you're my milkman and you deliver my milk every single day, and for a year you deliver milk every single day, and then the very next day of the new year you start delivering
like
orange juice or Coke, exactly, I'm gonna be pissed. Not necessarily because I don't like Coke, because you're my milkman, stop giving me Coke. But let's say, think about this, you're the milkman. All throughout our year relationship, you're throwing in, for every 6 bottles of milk, you're throwing in 1 bottle of Coke. I'm like, oh, this is a nice little treat. And then slowly I get to know, like, oh, you offer different things.
This,
Now you've come up with this new Coke milk blended thing that I never thought I would like. And like, since you eased me into it, I like it now. I hope that analogy makes sense.
I think that's
works.
a little
Great analogy.
It's true. I think that's the same principle, because I saw, like, sorry, I can't remember exactly who mentioned it in the chat just now, but someone said there was a band who like used to make a very specific type of genre, and then suddenly they made a very different genre, and it split the fan base. I think it's also okay to acknowledge that sometimes that happens, right? Where you want to make certain kinds of music, you go in a certain direction. For example, that also happened with a duo called Disclosure that used to make a lot of electronic music that was more of like straight up UK garage and house. And then in their third album, they started going for a little bit more of like a fusion sound, and it split the fan base. But for them, they were kind of at a stage where for their artist development, they needed to do that. So I think that's also like something to think about too. But it seems to be that at least for like the beginner intermediate stage, I think what we talked about just now is an approach. Yeah.
That's good. Thank you. That's an awesome topic. Brandon.
It's such a good one.
It's a
great topic.
Decisions need to be made.
Yeah.
Yes, decisions need to be made. Don't let yourself wander lost in the woods for too long. Like we can get lost in like, I'm gonna discover myself and I'm gonna just make what I want to
Yeah.
make, man. And it's like really sometimes we tell ourselves that just as an excuse to be a little lazy and not make decisions. It's hard and we have to give ourselves that hard reality. I do that. I do on a daily basis. Am I just making an excuse? Most of the time the answer is yes.
Yeah.
Same, exactly. Well, thank you guys very much. Good luck with the rest of the stream.
Thank you.
Thank you so
Thanks
much.
for
Thank you for calling
calling.
in. Thank you for your support for Beatober.
Thanks.
Later. Great call. Great
That
topic.
was a great topic. I feel I have so many mixed feelings about that
Yeah,
topic,
it's
or
tough.
mixed thoughts about
What
that.
I try to get across to people is it sounds like I'm telling you just go copy other artists or just homogenize, don't like lose all your creativity. But no, like think of the best artists that you like in a given genre. They make this given genre, but why do you like them more than
Yeah,
other artists in that
for
genre?
sure.
You're not just listening to any, DJ. You're not just listening to any band. You're listening to this band. Why? Like really unpack that and figure it out. And that's kind of like what you have to do as an artist. You make a genre, but what makes you special?
Yeah, I like that. The point you mentioned just now about like, okay, if you were to be on a playlist, who else is on that playlist? I think sometimes I've mentioned that to a lot of my students as well, but especially if you're not sure about, if you have like so many, types of things that you enjoy, it's an opportunity to be really like focused in your thinking and say, okay, if this was an immediate goal, what do I need to do so that I get to that goal? Like if, for example, I don't know, someone likes like the Kid Laroi and Justin Bieber and then Chainsmokers, like what do you need to do to get to that kind of sound?
Yeah.
It's a little bit easier
It
than
becomes
rather,
tangible.
yeah.
You can like break it down and say this is what they do. That I can find a tutorial on their
Yeah.
vocal chain. I can study their song structure.
Sometimes even easier as opposed to like a genre, because even
Yeah.
within the genre there's multiple things too, right? Like even for house there's like, tech house, minimal house, deep house, tropical house,
Yes.
many houses, and also
all the
garages. Like I just realized these places are places in your home.
wait, we're here. The genres are places.
Yeah.
All right, should we bring in Sebastian Alp
Yeah,
next?
sure.
Sebastian Alp is coming up next. I don't know why I just sang that. That's Sebastian's theme song.
Sebastian Nova's coming up next.
Where does that come from? That just like
I don't know.
It's just like bestowed upon me from the heavens, I guess. My friends, Zoom link is at the top of the chat. Go ahead and click that, call in. We got a few more people in the waiting room. If you want to get in on these conversations, you want to talk about Beatober, all that, please go ahead and jump in. Sebastian, I'm going to ask to unmute because sometimes I think people step away. Oh, but Sebastian is here.
Hello.
Hello,
Hi.
Sebastian.
Hello.
It's going great. Thank you for calling in.
Thank you.
Well, first of all, I wanted to thank you guys for doing all this stuff, the Beatober and everything.
Thank you.
It's been
Yeah.
great.
Thank you so much.
And well, I had a couple of questions actually.
Let's do it.
Okay, so first of all, right now I'm trying to do a song, synthwave song, but I'm having some trouble with the drums. So I want to ask you guys, what kind of drums would you put on a synthwave song?
Well, I tell you, I'm not a synthwave artist. But, however, if I wanted to do this, all I would have to do, I'm taking it one step further than you're taking it, is like literally just typing in to Google synthwave drums, drum kit. Wow, it auto-populated. And what I met with
Oh, wow.
is
that one.
is like pack after pack from $70 to $7.
No, but the very first one.
Oh, and here's a free pack of 80s inspired synthwave drums. So like sound selection is very, very important when you're trying to make a genre. And I find what a lot of like beginners, like maybe you're not a beginner, maybe you're intermediate, whatever, especially maybe you're just working in a newer genre to you. We say, okay, I want to make a synthwave track, and then you try to approach it and you go to do the drums, and all the drums in your library are like not even close to what 80s synthwave drums sound like. You only have, maybe you usually make trap beats, and you're like, why doesn't this 808 or something like fit in this? And like, that's why. So I would just like Like, be deliberate. Don't waste any time trying to like dig through your samples if like you don't have. If you want to make a specific genre, find a pack in that specific genre. I've seen packs that are like based around specific artists.
Yeah.
Like an
for sure.
Ariana Grande like serum pack or something.
Yeah.
If you want to make an Ariana Grande beat, so like it's not helpful for us to tell you like what these are the synthwave genre, synthwave drums sounds that you should use. It's more helpful for us to tell you go download a synthwave drum pack. You know,
Yeah.
like.
Oh, I see.
For sure.
Yeah.
I think something that also we kind of touched a little bit on this in the previous stream too, but it's great that you already know that synthwave is the genre, right? So another cool step could potentially, if you want to like, focus a little bit more on sound design, like let's say after you've got the pack, right? It's good to listen to a lot of other artists who are who have their music categorized in the synthwave genre so that you know how they're programming things. So that, for example, in the context of synthwave, you're not programming like a reggaeton type of drum pattern,
Yeah.
right? So that's also another thing that I think we can also take away a lot from listening to. It's like listen to stuff and then try to not necessarily recreate exactly, but analyze things so that you know the tools you need in order to create that same kind of groove in a synthwave piece.
Oh, I see. Well, thank you so much for that. And
You're most welcome.
another question I had is about mixing and mastering. I suck at that, and I wanted some
Me too.
advice on
Me too.
mixing and mastering, like for a beginner.
Things don't need to be louder; they need to be softer. Like instead of making things louder, make
Yeah.
everything around it softer. Headroom, especially my default Ableton project is every track at -12, not at 0, and that helps
Same.
because I've built a single. Like this actually ties into like the genre thing because when you're focused in the type of music you usually make, I have this rack that I just put on my master, call it mastering, and it generally works for all the stuff that I work on because I generally compose in similar ways with similar elements. So like throwing that rack on my master every time with a few tweaks depending on the song. I know that's not like I'm not telling you how to, master specifically. But what I am saying is like once you have that focus, you can develop tools that are things that you use every time rather than reinventing the wheel every time. So me having my project default at -12 dB improves my mixes because the mixes don't get too loud and the mixes don't like get blasted out. I take low end out of everything that doesn't need low end. That's not a bass. That's not a kick. If it's a guitar lead or something like that, why does it have anything below like 100 hertz? That kind of thing. I want to. Somebody in chat said, "It's okay if I buy." Really, it's okay if I buy the. Where is that?
Oh,
Really, it's okay to buy the packs. It's like, of course. Nobody here should be spending any time worrying about if something is quote unquote okay. Just go do it. Like, of course, you can go buy the pack that's the synthwave drum pack and use it in your things. Like, there's no shame in that. I think there's like a weird vibe around what do you call it?
like presets and like doing
Presets,
things,
samples, getting
yeah.
stuff pre-made or whatever. But did you have an answer to the mixing and what do you got there?
Yeah, for sure. So, so this might help a little bit, Sebastian. Maybe you might even know some of these resources too. But usually, I find it so hard to give mixing and mastering advice, quote unquote, because I don't necessarily consider myself a mixing or a mastering engineer. But I often see mixing and mastering as kind of like tools in the toolkit that we have as producers. So on that note, I think it's great to learn from people who do consider themselves specifically mixing or mastering engineers. So what I'm going to do right now is not in Zoom, but in the YouTube chat, I'm going to link 4 playlists. 3 of them are to mastering playlists of videos, and then 1 is to a mixing one. But these are all done by the company Isotope that makes a lot of plugins, like Ozone and Vocal Synth. It's a series that's called Are You Listening? And it's really great to train the ear as well. And I'm not just sharing this because I will say as a disclaimer, the series was taught by 2 of my former professors who are now my colleagues at Berkeley, where I teach. But it's a free series, so it's not as if we're selling anything. I wish I were getting sponsored by Isotope, but I'm not. But anyway, Sebastian, back to your question. I'll put the links in the YouTube chat for you.
Yes.
Thank you so much.
And the thing about this is
Yeah.
because
Mhm.
two questions that you asked, like, how do I make synthwave drum? Like, what drums do I use for synthwave? And then how do I mix and master? No way that we could like go through that in a call. And like, it's just way more valuable for you if we can give like resources of how you're going to be able to teach yourself. And the thing I'm going to say about what Claire's sharing in the chat right now is it's a few series that I can tell just by looking at them are amazing. The chapters in them, they're each like maybe 5 to 7 chapters. The chapters in them are anywhere between 15 to 30 minutes long, perhaps. And as somebody who makes series like these, not necessarily on mixing and mastering, but on other topics like music theory or on how to use Ableton Live, I can tell you, and we can't see view count on those, but I'd be very curious. The parts and sequence of my series, the first parts have the most views, and then as we go down the line, they get less and less, and they go down in view count. And I think what that is only some people are seeing it through, taking in all the information, not getting like discouraged halfway through, or not getting bored halfway through, not feeling like they don't need this information halfway through. Some of it is you give people the tools to figure things out on their own, and that's great. But otherwise, I feel like the only thing that can separate you all in the chat from the next person that wants to do music as their career is your ability to stand longer than everybody else, because other people are going to sit down, and if you just stay standing up, eventually stay standing up long enough, you're going to be one of the last few standing. So if you make it through these mixing and mastering series, whereas most people do not make it from beginning to end, you're already ahead of the game. But if you find yourself falling off after episode 3 and you're concerned about your mixing and mastering, but you can't get through the in-depth tutorial series by the people who have mastered this thing, then it's not something you should. It's not really something you can pursue, because all the other people out there are sitting through the tutorial and putting it into practice.
For sure. I think like sometimes one thing that we have probably experienced too is that it's not just about overall enthusiasm, but it's really about longevity. It's like how dedicated are you to, as an individual, to be able to like, say, okay, I'm going to stick with something that I dedicated myself to. And it's kind of the same thing that I tell also to a couple of my other students as well. It's like, if you find yourself already hating something while you're getting really deep into it, even though you know that this is something that you need, and then you give up, then maybe we should be thinking a little bit more deeply about whether it's something you really want or not.
And it's about what you want to spend your time doing. Like Claire mentioned, like these people teaching these things are like mixing and mastering, or maybe just mixing or just mastering is these people's lives. Now, I know for me, I want to be making music. Yes, I want it to sound good. I want it to be mixed and mastered well, but I am not about to dedicate nearly as much time as those people are.
For sure. 100%.
So perhaps I'll either hire somebody to do it for me, or I will do it to the best of my ability and say, I've done this to the best of my ability. I'm not going to stress out about it. This is acceptable for me. Maybe in a year, it's no longer acceptable for me, and I'll grow my skill set a little more, or I'll be more deliberate about hiring somebody to do it for me. But like, what do you want to spend your time doing? Because you can spend a lifetime learning mixing and mastering, but do you want to do that, or do you want to make music?
Yeah, I'll be completely honest. I totally resonate with that, especially like in the incremental learning stuff. Like, take things one step at a time, because I've definitely been in a position where I've also bitten off a lot more than I can chew as far as like learning things. Like, take these courses, or like, try to study this topic. And then it ultimately resulted in me being like just really impatient with myself. And I think that itself was hard to acknowledge, because in a way it's almost like admitting defeat, right? It's like, I want it too much for myself in this short period of time. But now that, we've done this for so many years at this point, it's almost like you after a while, you slowly grow your skills. When you fail, but you pick yourself back up again, and you found that you've grown more than you ever thought you could grow. Yeah. So it'll take time. Yeah.
Amazing advices, actually. And well, thanks a lot for all the advices, or the resources. The last thing that I wanted to ask you about is about songwriting, actually, since I don't sing and I'm not very creative. So I wanted to ask you, how could I start well, writing lyrics or stuff like that? So getting my ideas out there.
Yeah. Is it okay if I go first?
Of course,
Maybe?
yeah, I assumed
okay,
you would.
Cool. Mm, it's interesting, Sebastian, because I think in terms of lyrics, right, it's always really tricky to do. But one thing that that benefited me, which may not have been the same for other people, so I'm mostly just speaking from my experience, was just to be honest about the stuff to write. And it's so tricky because I think, at least from the perspective of a lyricist, it's really very much like poetry. You need to be honest, and I think it's also sometimes difficult to, it can be very dark to go into certain places to write about certain things, but sometimes that's where, at least for me, some of my best writing has come from. Right. So as a broad sort of thing, maybe tip number one for writing lyrics is write about things that you've experienced. Right. Sometimes I go back and I listen to songs that I wrote when I was, 12 or something like that. And I was at that stage, I was
so dramatic.
No, it's true. At that stage, I think I wrote a song about like heartbreak. I had never fallen in love before, so I was mostly just going off of, let's say, like classic 80s music
What
from
other
my
people
parents.
had already
Right, yeah,
written,
right, yeah, what other people had already done. But by the time that I was, let's say, like, 10 years older after that, I listened to the songs that I wrote then, and I'd experienced it by then. So I think a lot of the songs, the material, the lyrics that I had written then were much truer to the emotions that I had. So maybe one, writing from experience. Second of all, I think it's cool to listen to, going back to our other topic, listen to songs with lyrics that you like and figure out what you like so much about them. Like, for example, one of my songs that I did for Beattober that I didn't think I would write, but I ended up liking quite a lot. It's a song called All My Songs Are About You, and it ended up having like super straightforward lyrics that in normal dolltr ways wouldn't necessarily be like something I would go for naturally. But I was listening to a lot of pop punky types of songs at the time, and I was thinking, okay, what are the lyrics or the style of writing in these songs that work? And it was mostly a very straightforward thing to in that particular style of music. So I think there's also sometimes a little bit of a stylistic thing per genre and per artist as well. So listening to lyrics that you like and making notes about them is, I think, maybe one great way to also start writing your own lyrics.
And you said that you're not that creative, but I think if you're at least calling into the show, you're a little bit creative.
Yeah,
Yeah,
for sure.
so I
Yeah,
thought that was
absolutely.
interesting.
Embrace it, Sebastian.
And the truth is, like,
Thank
if
you.
you do want to do like songwriting and stuff, and maybe it's not songwriting for you, maybe it's songwriting for others, and you're talking about how you're not like that great of a singer. First of all, that's something you can work on, improve, take lessons on. But if that's not something you're actually interested in doing, you just want to be a songwriter, find a partner, find a person who does
Yeah.
top lines. You can basically be writing the lyrics. Of course, you can contribute on melodies, but if you're not interested in executing
Yeah.
them in the same way that like
sure.
a professional singer or somebody could, find a partner, find somebody to work with. People's creative skills can complement each other really well, and it can bear like great work that otherwise you couldn't do on your own. So.
Yeah, I'll add this as like maybe a final note because I didn't mention it yesterday when I did the writing stream.
Yes,
with
and go back and watch that writing stream from yesterday.
I didn't mention it when I made the writing stream, but I think I had I mentioned very briefly, like, I don't like the sound of my voice. It's true, I don't, but I want it to be, I have a very, I've written for other artists in the past, but I do have a very strong attachment to quite a lot of the songs that I've written. And it almost feels as if sometimes I'm giving away a child that I've birthed or something when I give a song to another artist. I still do it, but it feels a little bit of a loss for me, which is why I told myself, okay, if there's a song that really means something to me, I need to be the one to sing it. And because I'm not a good singer, I need to invest the time to become a good singer. Like, I was talking to you about this, I think maybe even like a couple months ago, but I did like this whole like crazy, I had to train myself to sing in a totally different way. Even over like the last year compared to like, let's say like a couple of older songs, but it was because it mattered to me. if I didn't actually want to sing my own music, then I would have probably, you know, found, like you said, another artist
Right.
who would be the conduit of my songs. It's a little bit like the Elton John relationship with Bernie Taupin, his lyricist, right? Bernie had the lyrics, Elton had the music. They didn't really have any interest in, you know, being the full package themselves, but together
They make great stuff. There's
made
lots
great
of
things.
duos
Yeah,
like that.
lots of people like that.
Patrick
So-
Stump, Pete Wentz of Fall Out Boy. Like Pete Wentz
Yeah.
is the bassist, and he
Yeah,
wrote like
yeah.
most of the lyrics on a lot of their first few albums.
Yeah.
And to credit you, the reason we had that conversation about like your vocal and you training yourself was because I was like, this video you just put out has like, you're not that your vocals ever sounded bad, but the vocals sound like you've been putting in work, and you were like,
Thank
oh,
you.
I actually have.
I
Been putting
have,
in work.
yeah.
So it's like
Thanks for
people
realizing. Yeah,
notice,
yeah.
people
It was
like pay
good.
attention when people put in work.
I'm curious to know if people will be able to find that like pivotal turning point. I don't
Unless
know.
they do what we do, they're not.
Unless-
they're
yeah, I
not
think it's a
paying
little
attention
tricky.
that closely. It could be a thing where they're like, I really love this song, and they don't really
Yeah.
think more deeply about why they really love this song
Yeah.
by you, and like that is probably.
But it's funny, like after we had that conversation, I talked to another friend about it, and she also said the same thing.
Mm.
So yeah, I think it's people will know when you put
People
in the
will
the
know
effort.
whether they
Yeah.
know consciously or subconsciously.
Whether subconsciously, yeah.
Sebastian, great questions.
Thank you so much. And well, thanks for all the advice. And just so you know, Claire, I really like your voice. So
That's very kind of you, Sebastian. Thank you.
Nice.
Thank you so
And
much.
also, one last thing, just so you guys know, in the chat, I'm called Bulky. So I know TAETRO you pronounced it
Oh.
as Bulky, but yeah,
Bulky,
don't worry about it.
QUI. Yeah. VULQUI.
And I should
Yeah,
say,
it's because
Bulky.
it's in
Bulky.
Spanish.
got it,
Yeah.
got it. Bulky.
Thanks, Sebastian.
Yeah.
Yes.
People
No
can
worries,
always
and well,
correct me about names and pronunciation.
no worries. And well, thank you guys so much and have a nice day.
You too.
Thank
Thank you for
you, you
calling
too.
in. Bye, Sebastian.
Bye.
Wow, so many great questions. That one was like, wow. That was crazy.
What am I saying wrong? I'm saying bulky.
Volqui.
Oh, and I should be saying bulky. Okay, got it. How am I supposed to know how to read every language? Just kidding. Everybody, if I pronounce your name wrong, you are not making it awkward for me. You are not insulting me by telling me how to pronounce your name. Please correct me. The sooner the better. But when you do it in chat, you have to understand, when I ask how to say something in chat, you can't just type it again. You have to like type it like it sounds.
Like phonetically things.
Hi, Kitty Cat. Hi, KCM. What did you miss? Nothing. We just raised $10,000 for the Music and Youth Initiative. That's all. That's all you missed. Pronounce my name. Boogie, please. Boogie.
Is it B Wookie or B
Boogie.
Woogie?
Boogie. It's like a different language.
Boogie.
We're going to get Darby in next.
Ooh.
I'm going to have to pee at some point.
Sorry?
I'm going to have to pee.
Oh, okay, sorry. Okay.
I want to remind everybody that we're going to be giving away an FL key and an FL studio producer license at the end of this segment. At the end of this call-in segment, we have a bunch more calls in the handful more calls in the waiting room. But guess what? If you want to call in and get in on this waiting room action, you better do it soon, because maybe we will run into not having enough time to answer everybody's question, which these are all really good questions. Thank you for being such a great community. Now, Claire is going to talk to you all about...
Huh?
Claire is going to talk to you
I'm
all
so-
about her long career, her long passion for Stephen Hawking.
Huh? That was so odd. But anyway, no, that's okay. I'm not. But actually, everybody, I was talking to TAETRO about this earlier on just now. But thank you so much all for your patience of yesterday's stream with like the fast writing and stuff like that. I do at some point want to do like, you know, a breakdown of a little bit of either like lyrics or production, because I feel like I didn't really do it justice yesterday, so I apologize on that front, because I think there's just so many layers to think about, right? I was reflecting on, you know, how I presented things, and I think it could have been potentially done a lot better, especially because I think I was very stressed. Like, there were a couple of my actual students on the stream, and I was like, oh, bananas. Okay, so but yeah, I mean, like, I think there's just so many layers to it as far as writing goes. And I should also mention this. I think it also depends very, very much on what the goal of writing is. Like yesterday when I was writing, it was very much writing for the dolltr project, which is a little different for writing for, let's say, something that's a bit more commercial. I've talked to actually a couple of folks already in the in the community about this too. But if you ever feel like you want to not sing your own music but write for other people, that's actually a totally different mindset too. And oftentimes that really has to do with it's so hard. It's really very hard. It has to do with kind of accepting, yes, I have this ego, but every single thing that I do in service of this song is not going to consider my artistic ego at all. It has to serve the artist who you are giving the song to. So that's why just now when I was even talking to Valky about this, it is so difficult to like give away something that you've worked so hard on when you've written it for someone else. But sometimes that's what you do if you do intend on being a songwriter. So
And
I did mention that yesterday, but thought it was important.
so you didn't talk about Stephen Hawking.
No, but I do like
I teed you up and everything.
the theory of everything.
You can't
I
talk
like
about him
the-
now. I'm back. The only point we're talking about him
Okay.
then was for like a
Sorry.
little filler content.
Well, I
But
mean,
you
I
had to
liked-
say
I
drop
liked-
some amazing gems for
I
these
liked
people.
the theory of everything as a movie, and I also liked Stephen. My most recent book that I was telling TAETRO about that I finished reading was by Stephen Hawking, where he answers like brief answers to big questions of the universe. And he talks about like the Big Bang and things like that, and time, and space, and all things Stephen Hawking. And the foreword was by Eddie Redmayne. So that I did not mention.
Just because he's an actor, just because he played him in the movie,
Yeah, because they ended up being friends.
they ended up being friends.
Yeah.
Now, this is a controversial question.
Oh.
But is Stephen Hawking still alive?
No.
So how old? I thought this movie was not old.
2014.
Oh, 2014.
Yeah.
Oh wow, it is pretty old. Anyway, that was a great call and a great conversation. That could
He
go
died
on.
in 2018. So.
Wow.
Rest
I
in
thought
peace.
I knew that, but I thought it was like a newer movie. So I was like,
Yeah, it was. I mean, it's interesting because I feel like time always.
he was alive when the movie came out.
Yes, he was. Yeah.
That's good. Usually they make the movie after you die.
That's
I
true.
hope if they make a movie about me, it's before I die, so I can
What
see
would
it.
the name of your TAETRO movie be?
My neighbor TAETRO.
Producer, my
Yeah.
producer TAETRO. Oh.
All right, ready for another call?
Yes.
You can eat a cookie. You earned it. You picked it up. It's oatmeal raisin. You don't like it?
Okay, cool. No. Sorry. It's just taking me a while to process, a little bit longer to process items.
His movie will be called New Member. Thank you to Chadwick Ryder.
Oh yes, thank you, Catherine. Welcome.
That voice changer button is underutilized. All right, we got to keep going with these calls. We want to. Great calls. Great conversations.
Great cookies.
Great cookies.
Reese's.
Great
Hi,
community.
Darby.
Hello, Darby.
How are you guys?
We're good. How are you?
Good. So I just had one question. I kind of just started music not too long ago, probably like 6 or 7 months, and I wanted to ask both of you if you could give a mini rundown on how you got where you are, and if you could do it over again, what would you do differently?
Wow. Okay. Wow, Darby. The real questions.
I know, I'm sorry, it's kind of a
No,
long one.
It's all good. These are great questions. I need to think about this. I'm actually
Okay, I
not.
can go first.
Yeah.
I can like trace, I guess, my lineage. It doesn't make sense. And what I will say is like, I don't think I could I couldn't have possibly planned from the moment I was like, I don't even know if there was a moment from when I decided like music was my thing to now what I do now, because what I do now didn't even exist when I was like music is my thing. So I found out music was my thing, which we find that out many ways, right? Like we all gravitate towards things. You got the friend who likes sports, you got the friend who's like a pro gamer, you got the friend who becomes a model. We all gravitate towards these things, and I think it's important that we chase those things that we naturally gravitate towards. So music was mine. I learned to play guitar. I play in some bands, really like pop punk, emo music, whatever. Want to write my own songs, want to don't want to go to a studio and spend a bunch of money, want to produce my own songs. Now I'm in the production world. So now I'm producing, learning to produce my own stuff and learning about DAWs, and then getting a gateway through that into like more electronic genres, things like that. Follow that up. Always throughout, common thread was I want to make original music, whether it's songwriting, whether it's compositions, electronic music, etc. I want to just follow that thread because that was calling me, making original music. And also had like kind of a passion for a passion for teaching. And I also feel like I was validated in it because I was finding success with like teaching, not success like in career. Well, yeah, sure. Success career wise. Yes. But fulfillment and success with like students, people learning from me, like people growing as a result of us working together. Followed those threads, you know, when you follow those threads, I ended up going to be a music major at a shitty state school. They had a composition program-ish that the administration hated. And by the time I was a senior, they said you could no longer be a composition major. Who cares? Whatever. I was going to do my own thing anyway. Kind of like just skirted by and did whatever I needed to do. Got jobs teaching, but like teaching in like alternative kind of programs and situations where I could craft my own curriculum and work in a studio, not like teach band kids, not like conduct a school band. From there, okay, how can I help a broader amount of people? Start a YouTube channel. I think I'm pretty good at teaching. Let me try to do it on video. Oh, but I also really still like to make original music. So like, let me tie it all together. I like to make electronic music. Let me teach people what I'm learning along the way. And then just go, it snowballs. You get better at making music. You get better at teaching. You get better at making videos. Now, all the people who used to buy the gear, now they want to send you all the gear for free so you can make a video. They want to pay you to be on their YouTube channel to make a video about it. It just totally snowballs. That, like, I think that's the story. That's the trajectory loosely. I have to think about what I would do differently.
Sure. Thank you.
Maybe I'll do my trajectory and then. Yeah. For me, I started in a very traditional classical music environment. So my parents got me started on piano when I was, I think, like 5 or 6, I forget. But I did it mostly because of them, and also my paternal grandparents at the time were very, I realized the mic. My paternal grandparents at the time were very supportive, so they got me like my very first piano when I was a kid. So I started doing lessons, continued doing lessons for many, many years, and thankfully I enjoyed it enough to not give up. I think if I had ever said like, I really hate this to my parents, they would have probably given in and let me stop. But even in some of the moments where I struggled, I just kind of went for it. And inadvertently, I think I kind of, because of those struggles and because of me getting over them and overcoming them, I think eventually got to a point where I knew that at least in the field of music, right, compared to, let's say, biology in school or math or something, at least in this vein, God bless it somehow, right? Like, or like, even if you don't believe in God, like whatever greater higher power, if you believe in one, I would be able to do something in this field. So I ended up doing music at an academic level in middle school, the equivalent of middle school in the country where I was from, and then also went to do it at high school. And by then, it was very, very rare for people to actually pursue that at an academic level. Most people would do music, casually as like a hobby of sorts, right? And most of the time, parents or families who got their children to study music would certainly not expect you to do it professionally. It was more of an expectation to like, here's a cool enrichment activity that you can maybe add to your resume, right? So that was always, I think, perhaps where my parents thought I was going for most of my life, even up until like high school when I was doing it for like, my big national exams. Music was one of my chosen topics. But yeah, after that, I really liked it, and something kind of pushed me to want to do music at a college level. So I played a couple of colleges, but one of the colleges that I got into was a specific music college. I ended up going towards that. Although I will say, before I went to music college, I did do kind of a bit more of a traditional program in like liberal arts at a local university. But it was after that that I went on to do college in music. And that is maybe kind of relating to the second question. That's something that I definitely would not have changed. Because I think if I had not done non-music related studies, I wouldn't have realized how much I couldn't live without music being my thing. So I ended up going to college for that. I only actually got into electronic music in college. Before that, I was a bit of a purist. When people would say electronic music, I would think like doom, 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 and be like, that's it. But I went to an event that changed my life, and that is I went to see a band called Disclosure live. And I was already a performer then. I had done tons of these like piano events back when I was still classically trained. Did a bunch of flute stuff too, in terms of like recitals and stuff like that as a classical music performer. Got my diplomas, oh my god, like in these things. And then I got into electronic music after seeing Disclosure perform live, and I was like, okay, this sounds amazing. If there's some way for me to get into electronic music, it's through the lens of performance. And that's how I started doing live electronic music performance. And then the rest is kind of history. I ended up being really passionate about it in college, and it was a little bit serendipitous that as I was graduating or progressing through college, the department I was in at the time was also working on a program to train students to do electronic performance. And years later, I ended up being one of the faculty members in that department who now teaches it. So that's what I do now. I'm the professor, kind of like as my day job of sorts, at several colleges in Boston, New York areas, and so on. So that's kind of like where I also really enjoy mentorship. So kind of going back to, that's why I brought up like the idea of fulfillment, because I love helping people realize their visions, which is also something that applies to my professional work. I do a lot of like music tech consulting with artists who want to develop their live show or who want to tour, right? So they'll be like, hey, Claire, we need some help. Can you help us? And I'll be like, sure, because that's the thing that I do now. And I mean, even as like me as an artist as well, I think, okay, I'm going to backstep that because I can't actually think of how to complete that sentence. So I'll say this instead. Very frankly, I'm still figuring stuff out. I'm still figuring things out. I love being an artist. I love being a teacher. I love being a producer for other people. Like I mentioned, I love writing for other people too. It is so difficult to prioritize and find the time to equally, if at all possible, I don't think it's even possible to equally do this, but spread your resources as a person amongst all of these interests. Like, for example, now the more I teach, the less time I have to produce for other people. But the more I produce for other people, or the more I do dolltr stuff, the less time I have to teach and nurture, my students, which I also really like doing, right? So, yeah.
Awesome.
Also, sorry, very quickly, Jungle Monks in the chat, my name is Dolltrick, not Doll. So,
and thank you, Felton, for jumping in on that.
Yeah. Yes, thank you. Yeah, just saw that. Thank you. Your change. What would you change? I don't know if you.
What I change? Well, all that, it's so hard to say what would I change, because I am in this moment, like kind of like where I want to be. Not saying this is where I want to end. Like not saying this is the top upper limit. There's more things that I want to do. However, I feel like extremely fortunate to be doing what I'm doing, to be in the position that I'm in. I love what I do. It's not always easy, and I think I saw somebody said while I was explaining the first part, like, wow, sounds like exactly what I want to do. Oh, it was Felton again. Yeah, Felton. Wait, that sounds exactly what I want to do. Because when I say like, oh, I make music and videos and I get a bunch of free gear and stuff, like that sounds good. But like the day-to-day of it is work. It doesn't mean I'm like stoked every single day and just like life is perfect. There's still like struggle and challenge within all of that. And it's still hard. Just because something's hard doesn't mean it's not where you want to be. So when I say when you ask what would I change, an easy one for me is like, well, I could say I should have never gone to that music school. I should have basically never really gone to music school. I could have taught myself a lot more than I learned at that place, because basically everything I do now, everything you all see me do, 95% self-taught. When I say self-taught, like learned on the internet or whatever from other people. But I can't say that because if I didn't go to that school, I wouldn't have gotten on the career trajectory that got me to working at the in after school programs, that got me to working as a in the Boys and Girls Club, that like gave me the opportunity to get a grant, which allowed me to buy my first camera, that I started this YouTube channel with, that I got connected to Music and Youth via that. Anyway, this whole thing wouldn't even be happening if I had never was connected to Music and Youth. Other opportunities that came up as a part of being a part of that organization, that the organization that I eventually left, that is all kind of rooted in I had a degree, and that was like a hiring requirement. So it's hard for me to say like I shouldn't have gone to school, even though it's hard. What I can say is every time an opportunity was offered to me and I felt like that opportunity was in the direction of where I wanted to go, maybe it wasn't exactly where I wanted to go, but it was a step towards it, I took it. No matter if I thought I was qualified, no matter if I thought I was if I like had the capacity to do it, I took it on. And you keep doing that long enough, you say yes to enough things you're not sure that you can do, you build up this discipline of like, I'm going to say yes to this, which means I have to frantically figure out how to pull this off. And you just do that until your skills develop. Like it's like a domino effect of skills, because you're constantly catching up with the thing you said yes to. It's crazy, but that continues to this day, but it's like leveled up times 10 from where I started, because you have to just like keep catching up, and it's like can't retrace it back. But what I will say is there's many opportunities in many places to go, to be a artist slash what. Were you always like career oriented? Like I have friends that love music, that I played in bands with and stuff, but they were never going to go to music school. They were never going to try to make music a career. For me, it was always like, music is my thing. I need to find a way to make it a living. It was never like, I'm going to go get a job unrelated to music and just do music on the side, which I feel like a lot of people do. I was always laser focused. When I graduated college, I had a chart that was like, here's all the ways I think I could make money in music, like live performance, licensing and publishing, like all like 5 different categories. And I would like track them. Private lessons, track them, see which ones were getting the most traction, and then start concentrating on those. Like, so it was very like deliberate. Like, this is not just like a passion, but I want it to pay the bills. I don't want to have to do it part-time.
Yeah, for sure. Also, thank you, Phaeton.
Phaeton?
Yes.
I can't see.
It's okay. He's
an I.
given us the
Phaeton.
Thank you, Phaeton. Thank you. Yes, for the pronunciation. I mean, I think for me, I'll say this. I think because I wasn't necessarily thrown into the same kind of like stressful nature of being like, oh, I'm not allowed to be a composition major anymore. I think I was definitely less organized about like, here are all the ways I need to make money. But something that did affect me a lot at the time, and maybe this might be relevant to a couple of other people too, is it depends. Sometimes this is important to people and sometimes it's not. It was to me, was that I didn't want to let the people down who cared about me. And for me, that was always my family. They even up until when I did college, I don't think they fully understood that it's like, oh, this is something that our kid wants to, turn into a career. Until like much later, there was this thing where, like I said, I started to help develop the program at my school and stuff, my former college that I went to, that I think things got like, oh, okay, she's actually doing something. Because I think, I'll say this too, I think it's my family, there isn't anyone in my family who's professional musician. They've always been interested, which has been fantastic. But because of that, I think it initially was very challenging to conceptualize what is my daughter gonna do, right? Because to them it's kind of like, okay, music teacher. Which is, I think every parent's perspective, if their kid's a musician and going to go to music school, they're going to be a music teacher or like drugs and death. So at least in the greater scheme of things, like and in the society that I grew up in, right? So, but and even nowadays, I kind of half joke with my parents. They're very wonderful. I love you, mom and dad. I half joke with them. I'm like, just tell people that I'm a DJ. I'm not. It's like, but it's so hard to say. Like, my daughter's a live electronic music professor as well as an artist and a producer. Yeah. It just doesn't mean a lot to even like the I don't know, the aunts at the annual family gathering or something.
It's
you
not
know?
an easy. You
Yeah.
you can't easily check a box. My kid is
Yeah.
a car mechanic. That's an
Yeah.
easy thing to say.
For sure. So going back to your question about like whether I knew focus or not, I didn't have that chart, but I definitely knew that somehow I need to make it work.
Yeah.
So I didn't have like specifically like I need to
Sometimes
do
if you're
this,
just
right?
like making directional moves, like
Yeah.
just having a clear north star of what exactly you want
Yeah.
and moving towards that, whether it's written on a chart, whether you just know it, like that's super helpful. Just like knowing, and it can be as loose as like knowing I'm passionate about teaching and mentorship, and I'm passionate about making music. Like having those two north stars. Some people don't have north stars. Some people don't know what they're passionate about. If you identify those, like it's very powerful, because you can be, every time an opportunity is presented to you that gets you closer to being able to do those two things, it's an easy yes. You might have self-doubt.
Yeah.
You might doubt that you can achieve it or accomplish whatever it is, but it's identified in your brain as like, that's part of my north star. That's
Yeah.
like part of my like guiding thing.
I actually did think of one thing that I would maybe change.
Coming here for a 24-hour live stream.
No, not at all. But I'm just thinking about a lot to this year, for example. It's quite recent actually, but I think in the years preceding this, I may have wanted to say no to maybe just a couple of things for the sake of health, because I had quite a big health scare this year, earlier on, and it was pretty serious for me because the implication was that I might not even be able to do like any of the things that I was doing, like like touring and stuff like that. So I was a little bit scared by that. So I think if I could do things over, perhaps I might have said no to maybe one or two things that ended up contributing to that health thing.
But part of the harder thing that we've talked about before, about the position that we're in as like educators and artists and like musicians, try to make our way in a world that doesn't really value these things as much as they might be worth. It's like, wait, if you have to turn down work, you don't necessarily know when a job's gonna come back. Even though like I've been a freelancer for like so long and like have relied on like contract income so steadily that you could, knock on wood, pretty much count on it. But there's still always a fear. If I turn this down, if I say no to this, I'm literally just walking away from money that I could use to feed myself when all of this disappears, when this fantasy that I'm living in suddenly becomes reality in a Thanos snap. But what I've learned, what I'm trying to learn and tell myself is that it will all be okay. Everything tends to work out. Sometimes it doesn't, but if you're a good enough problem solver, you can navigate situations. Like, I think it comes down to like the person. You can navigate the problems. Like, yes, you're gonna face challenges. No, not everything's gonna be perfect. How you navigate them is like the change in that.
Mm-hmm.
Also, very actually no. I think that's it. Yeah.
Sure.
I'll do
Yeah,
after.
thank you.
Yeah.
You guys definitely gave me a lot to think about for
Sorry,
sure.
Darby. That was a big
No,
one.
no, I love it. I love it. I did have one last question. It's kind of quick. Why the shirt SM7B? Because I keep seeing people with it, like 8 million people have it, and I just want to know, like, what is the
I
hype?
have it too. So.
The thing is, the easy answer to this question is not an answer to this question. It's the fact that you said, I see 8 million people using it. Why? Don't even, at that point, don't even think about it. Just take that as like the biggest thing. Everybody uses it. Because, of course, you could go down and research why does everybody use the SM7B. You'll find some answers.
Mhm.
Great rear noise rejection. Great, like, just general sound. I say that because when something is so broadly adopted or so broadly praised, I find that a lot of people just like dig down and try to figure out the why, and that prevents them from getting the thing and making stuff with the thing.
Yeah.
Why does everybody like that microphone? I don't know if I should get it. And then you've spent a year debating whether or not you should spend $400 on it. And I'll say that was actually probably me before I bought this microphone. And I had like a bunch of other microphones. I don't need that $400 microphone that literally everybody has. Every podcast that I listen to, people use. So many vocalists that I like, I see them using it in the studio.
Yeah.
I don't need that thing. I've kind of like shifted my mindset
Yeah,
to
for
be more
sure.
like, why am I breaking my brain over an answer that's right in front of me? The people I like, the people I look up to are all
Yeah.
using this thing. The people I like, all the stuff I consume is, created with this thing. And that's not just for a
Yeah.
mic. That's just like, oh, every producer I like is using Ableton Live. I'm not going to go debate what DAW I should use. And this is like way back, right? But I'm not going to like do hours and days and weeks and months of research about what DAW I should use
For
when
sure.
I see all these producers I like using Ableton Live, right? So I kind of like decide what decisions I'm going to agonize over and what decisions I think have already been made for me by smarter people than me. One day
Yeah.
I'll be a smart person, but for now I'll let the smarter people's decisions. They didn't have to tell me that I should get the SM7B. I just saw that all those smart people are using the SM7B, I'm not saying that I'm a smart person. That's not what I'm
Yeah.
saying. I'm saying all the people that I saw that I thought were smart
For sure.
people were using the SM7B.
Yeah, I don't have much to add on because I also use the SM7B. Except I think it's cool to remember that there is a reason why certain things are standards or like widely adopted. It's because it works. It's fun. It's cool to question it, which is I think it's always very important to do that and like rationalize it. But if we do find ourselves digging, our own holes rather, and purposely trying to dive deeper for the sake of diving deeper, just to prove like a point contrary or something.
You have to set a limit on like how
Yeah.
deep down you're gonna go to the rabbit
I
hole.
agree.
I was looking at patio furniture one time, and like if I'm gonna buy a patio bench on Amazon, there is only so many I could possibly buy. First of all,
sure,
anything
yeah.
beyond the third page is
Crazy.
trash. But I'll spend 2 months trying to pick a damn patio bench
Yeah.
when really there's probably only 12 that fit into what I actually want. So
Yeah.
why am I spending 3 months in mental energy on this when it's just like, you know what?
Get the patio.
Just buy one of these patio benches. Like put a time limit on it. Okay, like I spent 2 days thinking about it. I'm just gonna buy one now. It's like you have to. Your creative mind is like a resource that you should spend responsibly. So
Yeah.
like think about
Right,
that when you're
right.
making decisions and like when you're agonizing and doing research. Like put a cap on it. Be like, I don't need to research this the rest of my life because you could research all these things for the rest of your life.
Yeah, for sure.
Fair enough. Well, thank you guys so much. I really appreciate it, and I hope you guys can get some sleep soon.
Thank you.
And, that was a really great answer.
Thank you. Thanks,
Yeah.
Darby.
Thanks so much, Darby.
Thank
Have a good
you.
one.
You too.
I have one thing to do. Okay. Anyway.
Okay.
Okay. So this. Let's see. Il Fantastico Banana Joe the Scientist. I don't know if you're still here or not, but like if you are I don't know who you're talking to. It doesn't matter if it's me or someone else, right? But calling people girl and like so on love, that's like not acceptable. So I'm gonna go ahead and put you in timeout. You can have a chill pill for a
I didn't even
while
get to read
and
it.
think a little bit about why that was inappropriate, right? Don't be condescending to these sorts of things like calling people love and so on. We do not love you. I do not love you. Probably the person, if you are referring to me, then the person you were calling love also does not love you, right? So don't call people like love and whatever. Okay, I'm done. Thank you.
I didn't even see that. Is it above this?
No, a little lower.
I did see some just like odd
That's the one.
comments.
Yeah. It's right there. I have it here. I can screenshot it.
No, I believe you. I just wanted to
No,
read
no,
it.
no. I should have actually screenshot it. I always screenshot things, but I'm a bit sleepy, so I forgot to screenshot that. So anyway,
Just don't be weird.
Yeah.
Don't be weird in chat.
come on,
Okay.
right? That's a bit over the top, Lejano. Don't push it, man. Be respectful. of
That's a
people.
little bit over the top.
Be respectful.
This guy's got the F word in his name. Bye. We don't want you here. You're not welcome here, my friend. It's fine. That's an easy clap for me, bro. Here's the thing. You think that because the internet, like you can go anywhere on the internet, you can go to any website, you think like free speech means you can say whatever you want, but not everything is protected speech, first of all. Second of all, this is my community. I get to say whether you get to speak or not. And guess what? You don't get to speak. So I'm sorry if that breaks your brain of what the internet is supposed to be, but
I'm not sorry. You can be sorry. That's fine.
my chat is not a democracy. My chat does not have free speech. the level, I feel like the bar is like not that high for just being a normal, acceptable
Human being.
person.
Jeez.
Oh, SJ said, how about fuck you two losers?
Oh,
Bo,
bye.
broke boy sitting in his mom's
Bye.
basement saying fuck you two losers while we sit in my
Yeah,
home
goodbye.
studio.
Yeah.
A dedicated space filled with a bunch of shit I got for free some
Yeah.
Star Wars helmets I spent way too much money on. I don't want to hear
Farewell.
I don't want to hear about it, broke boy. It's not a classist thing. It's just like you give the game away, bro. You
Yeah.
give the game away.
Come on.
So sad. Anybody else? Let's go. Let's go.
Oh, only timed out? That was nice of
Oh
you.
no, I meant to do a band.
That's all right. If he does come back, you can do it properly, and I can keep an eye out for it too.
I can get rid of him now. It's just why prolong it? We've had so many questions,
That's true.
so many like good conversations. We don't have to. What is this? Homework. You've been in chat all day, so I'm not gonna like time you out or anything. But don't say true Christianity. Well, I don't know what that's in reference to. That could have been like a funny retort or something. But then just avoid the weird stuff. People have a weird idea about free speech. Well, I guess. Yeah. And what's even weirder is when I get to tell them that whatever you think about free speech, it doesn't matter when you're in my chat. I don't care what the U.S. law says. You can't come and say anything you want in my chat. If I say Jose Garcia says banana, the word banana is banned in my chat. Boom. Banned in the chat. If I said I don't like people with the name Amelia, boom, banned in my chat. Doesn't matter. I'll clap anybody out of here. Anybody else? Yeah, you're next, Oyama. Okay. Phew. I think we sussed them all out. The good thing about doing this is it like how do you say it? Like it gets them all to come out. Like it gets them all to.
It's true. It's a purge. It's good.
The FedEx guy, man. Don't bring it back up. Why? I forgot about the FedEx guy. Now I'm feeling bad again.
Now he's triggered again.
All right.
Aw.
All right. Peace and love. Let's get Ian in here.
No, it's true though. I like getting people out of the woodwork.
Yeah.
You know. Hi, Ian.
Ian's camera just did a crazy thing.
That was great. That's awesome.
It's moving.
That's so cool. I like it.
What kind of situation is it?
So, Ian, we can't hear you.
It's coming?
Good. Okay.
Connecting. And
Hello.
Hello.
Hi, Ian.
How do I sound?
You sound good.
Congrats on winning.
I have this on my phone
Yeah.
here. All right, so I've been producing around 2020 and a lot like dolltr. I actually wrote music when I was like 9. And I was writing about heartbreak, even though I never been through a relationship.
Same. Yeah.
And I do like recording vocals, but my voice is pretty good, but I'm still embarrassed to post that stuff to YouTube and VanLab. So I'd like to have what advice you have I'd like to see what advice you have for me. And I haven't had vocal training, so I am still rough around the edges.
Yeah, that's such a great question. Thanks so much, Ian, for that. I'll say this too. I haven't actually had any lessons. Also, I mostly
cool.
sometimes I went for like some master classes or to look at the videos and stuff like that. But I think something that might be cool to do that I did a lot when I was just starting out, especially, was I didn't necessarily put it publicly on places like YouTube or Vimeo, but a little bit similar to having a journal, like you mentioned. I would put it in either a folder on my own computer, or sometimes I would have SoundCloud, but I'd have like a private page. So it's almost as if you're saying, okay, on this day in 2020, which is when you started producing, right? So 2020, December the 7th, I made this track. I recorded vocals. I wrote some cool lyrics for it. Here it is. I'm uploading it so that I can remember this is what I did on this day. And I think that's a really cool way to also get used to having some kind of way for listening to yourself. Because I don't know if folks can resonate with this too, but sometimes vocalists, I have such a hard time like watching my own videos. Like watching, maybe you feel differently. TAETRO's like the ruler of all of this, so maybe he feels differently, but I have such a hard time watching my own videos and listening to my voice, right? But over time it's definitely become easier, and I think it's because I kept that kind of journal of audio. So you don't even necessarily have to write things down, but just being able to kind of listen to yourself is a really great way. Because like you mentioned just now, we talked about that example of like heartbreak and whatever. Now when I listen to those old songs that I wrote, I can have a better understanding of like, okay, why was that maybe not so good? But maybe now that I can listen to what I write now, okay, why is this better? So maybe that might be one way. If that sounds good, Ian, maybe to just try it out. If it doesn't work, that's also okay. There's a couple of other things that can be tried too, but that might be a cool start.
And
Right.
I'll say, if MySpace was still around, you would be able to find some super embarrassing videos of me singing not well. And in fact, I bet
I want to see that. I really want to see that.
you don't want to see it. You just need to know that it exists and that there's probably stuff on YouTube that exists too. Like we actually last year during the 24-hour stream, we did a bunch of like.
I remember, right?
We're not doing that this year.
Okay.
But we showed a bunch of like old like clips.
Oh, yeah.
And the thing about that is, if I never did those things when I was younger, I would have never gotten better. If I never posted stuff online, like this stuff that I'm doing, like this social media thing, like when I think back on it, like I remember like cultivating my audience on MySpace, like getting my fans to do certain things with their display name to be in the top 8, like posting. And this ties back into like the embarrassing thing because like everything I was doing back then was embarrassing. Like if you could hear that music, it was like so embarrassing. But I think I was like probably a little overconfident, but also confident in a way that like I knew I was just doing the best that I could. I knew I was doing something I wanted to do, and it sounds like you're pretty passionate about music, like wanting to do it. So like be confident in if you can be confident in anything, be confident in your passion for music and be confident in the fact that it's a long road to improvement and you're pretty young. So like you have a long way to go, and what you do this year, what you do this day is going to be could be embarrassing to you tomorrow, but like it's definitely going to be embarrassing to you 5 years from now, 6 years from now. But literally every artist, unless there's some child prodigy out there that like that sounds like, I think every artist starts out, they post some stuff that is the best that they can do in that moment, but starting to do it then set them on a course for being like the amazing artist that they are today. So you have to start getting on that course and realize that like, don't be embarrassed to post stuff to BandLab. You can have a standard of what you put out. You can set stuff to your standard, but that standard should be, is this the best that I can do right now? Because if you're holding yourself to a standard that's higher than the best that you can do, you'll never put anything out because you can't do better than the best that you can do. So like you have to just start doing that, and you'll get feedback, you'll get support, you'll get haters. You heard us just popping off in the chat with like haters, like it's gonna happen no matter what, and you can't let it get to you. It goes back to have that confidence. Like music is your passion, like that's your North Star. Figure out all the things you want to do within that, and all the things that make you feel good about doing that. Don't let anybody bring you down, and then keep it in your mind. If you keep improving, you keep doing better just by staying consistent and going through it. And like year after year after year, you will get better. You will be embarrassed by your previous year's work. Maybe like, I don't even know if I'm at the point where I'm not embarrassed by my previous year's work. Maybe not embarrassed anymore, but maybe like, at least I look back on it and say, damn, I can do way better now. But if you get to a point where it's a year later and you're like, no, I can't really do better than this, then that's actually a problem. Yeah. So I guess you should feel like you could every evolution, every year that goes by, you should be leveling up. And part of that is like your previous work won't be as good as your current work. Mm-hmm. But if you don't have any current work, you can't get better. You have nothing to compare it to.
For sure. And I think like something that applies like, regardless of age or demographic or whatever, is that it matters that I think you even feel like you might be embarrassed, because it means that you care. I think if we didn't feel like embarrassed about our work, we would then be in a truly troubled position. Right? So because it'll just be, that means we really don't care at all. Yes, maybe there's a stage where we feel less embarrassed, but I think that just means that we're concerned about the work that we do, because we're artists. We care about the stuff that we make. So, yeah.
Well, yeah, that was really nice. Usually when I post stuff to BandLab, I kind of try to make it professional, even though it's still a hobby and I don't really care about money or anything right now. But it's really fun to just post up because I can get a lot of feedback. And I've had one guy who said something bad, so I haven't had an experience with any haters. So, yeah, thank you guys a ton. And I'm also really happy to win the app for
Yes.
the iOS, and I did get my Instagram.
Yes,
I've never had an Instagram before.
I'm gonna message you and send it your way. I want to
All right.
I want to say something before you get off, because you're saying I have posted some things to BandLab and I know they're not super professional, and then
Yeah.
you said like, but because I don't care about this, that, and another thing. You should just reframe that. You should just, anytime you find yourself saying like, oh, I don't care, like it's whatever. I understand what you're saying, but if you frame it as instead of like I don't care, instead of like I know it's not the most professional, but it's the best I can do right now. It's not that you don't care. Of course you care. You care. I think sometimes we say I don't care when it's like almost like a deflection to like you don't have to not take responsibility, but like I don't know. It just avoid that phrase, because you definitely do care and you want to do better, but you're not going to be better overnight. You're going to make incremental improvements over time, and it's going to amount to a lot. And guess what? If you have somebody like there's a difference between people maybe being critical of your work. I know how people on the internet are. I just had to ban somebody in chat while we were talking. But like there's a difference between people being critical of your work and people being just rude. The people who are being just rude, block them. Don't let them into your space. Like same thing that we do here in chat. Like you don't get free speech in my chat if you're a jerk. If somebody's being critical, it is something that might feel not good, but you can still, if you know that it's true a little bit, or maybe it can affirm something in you that's like, that's something I need to work on. I heard it from a third-party source, and it's hard on the internet. Don't trust everything you hear on the internet.
Yeah.
But
I've already realized that.
Navigate that delicately. Don't take it to heart. Don't let it emotionally affect you. Let it motivate you to like do better in whatever way that you can, and just keep posting stuff. Like BandLab, get it up there, make it the best that you can. Because if somebody comes for you and you're like, damn, well that really wasn't the best that I could do, then that's on you. You know. So just always push yourself. Hold yourself to your best standard, not somebody else's standard. Thank you for calling in. I'm going to message you on Instagram like as soon as we get done with these calls.
Thank you a ton. I really hope that I can do a lot for production, because I've been playing ukulele since like 9. So yeah.
You certainly can. Keep going. Keep being consistent.
No problem.
Yeah.
Have a good one.
You too. See ya.
See ya.
Yes. I don't think that it'll reach though. But your charger is right
here.
I
see. Yeah, my charger. Thank you. Sorry, I thought that was.
They're the same. Yeah. Well, yours has like a big hefty thing on this end. Mine is just.
I see. Okay, cool. It's the little one. Thank you.
Yeah. Okay. We're gonna keep going. What's up with the weirdos in the chat, bro? I don't know like what happened. If it's the time of day, it's a Sunday. Imagine like you're chilling on a Sunday.
I mean,
being a weirdo in chat.
Like you mentioned, the larger the audience you attract, the more the percentage of odd people there will be.
Chicozy. Hello.
It was good.
Oh God, that scared me. Did that scare you?
No, that didn't. That one did not. The movie yesterday did.
That was like a jump scare. Because it was just like a oh, that was like a horror movie. But hello, cool headset.
Hey, it's TAETRO. Hey, dolltr. How y'all doing?
Good.
Doing well.
Nice.
Doing well too. Yeah, I don't have any questions. I just want to call in and talk to y'all. I like to talk with other producers, other musicians. It's one of the things since high school, especially. That was like my first, I guess, outlet into like really hanging around musicians and stuff in high school. So like I really like that. And that was kind of before I was into YouTube and stuff. So I think it's really nice to like YouTube's community, like your community and other communities, musicians coming together, learning from each other, talking, growing together. So I really appreciate what you're all doing.
Thank you. It's cool because it's like I had like similar thing in high school. Like you're around other people that kind of do what you do, other creative people. But like this is like that on steroids because it's like people in Brazil, people in India, people in South Africa. It's like, whoa! I got friends, community members all over this planet that all like the same thing and came together for similar things. It's like crazy to think about.
Yeah, it really is. Bring the whole world together. I really like that. That's really cool.
We can all do that in our own ways and in our own communities. The world would be a better place.
It really will. Exactly. I totally agree. I think music's one of the best outlets for that as well. It's so universal. Like I just love like I've had people tell me how like some of my music changed their life and stuff, and just hearing that really it just means a lot. It really helps me grow as an artist, just doing that for people and like providing them a sense of healing and stuff.
Because you we want to have I feel like any sane well, I feel like there are people who do not actually care one way or another if they positively impact another human being. But I can't imagine, like, not even in a malicious way.
Yeah, like a neutral, like indifferent.
Right. I don't know what it is in me that makes me feel like not a responsibility, but makes me feel like if I can do a positive thing for
Yeah.
somebody else, then I'll do a positive thing for somebody else, like
Yeah.
good upbringing, perhaps. Maybe my parents did something right. Maybe. Who can say? I don't know.
Absolutely.
Yeah. If we had more of that, that'd be great.
Yeah. I mean, I think it's also like a broader understanding of the world. I think sometimes I think like when folks don't necessarily realize that they aren't like the only person in their sphere, that gives them a little bit more of like a narrow-minded thing. I like to think of it as like, a horse with blinkers on. It's like you only see what's in front of you and you're only, walking in a specific direction, but you're not seeing how, oh, when you're moving your feet, you're actually stamping on the grass or you're smashing a flower and stuff like that, right? And I think that's in a way why sometimes when I talk to folks, this almost relates a little bit to the conversation we had with Ian just now, but I think it's really important to experience many things and kind of like, expose yourself to lots of different communities, a lot of different people, different cultures too, because it kind of makes you understand where you are as an individual in the world.
How am I different from you? Why don't I like the same
Yeah.
things that you like? Why do we like this same thing? Like that all helps you understand like
Yeah.
yourself a little bit better.
Mm.
Oh, exactly. I always like when people tell me like, because my favorite genre of music is dubstep, and it's controversial. And a lot of people don't like it, and I understand why. But like, I always tell them, I think it's such a beautiful thing when they tell me that. 'Cause I think it's so great how like a music genre I love so much for my own reasons. You don't like it, and I think that they express that. You shouldn't be sorry about that or anything like that. You should, it's music. Like it should be.
That should like be the most liberating thing for everybody in here that's like trying to make music is like think of the song that people love across any genre, any level of popularity that you absolutely hate. And just know that whatever you make, no matter how much you love it, somebody's going to hate it. And if you make something that you perhaps hate, it could actually be something that somebody else loves. So that's like a little like that's sometimes how I can subvert my like inner voice that holds me back sometimes. Like I don't like this, I don't like this, I don't like this, but somebody else might like this.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, I think like it's also, I don't know, the more I think about this, the more I just really think about how, I keep saying the same thing, but how important it is to just recognize our places in the world. Maybe that's why this is answering even the question that TAETRO asked me just now about like Stephen Hawking, right? I think maybe the reason why I liked that book that I read so much is because it really made me think like I'm a tiny speck in this whole universe. At the same time, I'm making a visceral impact on a lot of people. And at the same time, I'm making no impact on, I'm like,
When we zoom out on the timeline.
Yeah. It's like, we're just here. The universe has bigger
Will be
plans.
dust,
It's,
like, at some point.
Yeah. Maybe that's why I like him so much. Because I think a lot about, the context of how we live. And this is almost veering a little bit more philosophical. So sorry if this is like, off topic and stuff. But yeah, I still try. I don't have more yet to give a more articulated opinion or thought, but I'm always thinking about it. So if I formulate one, I will let you know. Something else. Yeah.
An ongoing thing to have to articulate. Thank you so much for calling in.
Oh, you're welcome. Yeah,
Even
really
though you
talking to you.
scared me at the beginning. Good
Yeah,
talking to you.
great talking to you.
You too. Oh, you too. I just have like one final message for especially, like just kind of echoing what you said. I just think because I see it's such a common concern, and I just want to let people know, all producers, new or old, like keep creating, don't have all this, analysis paralysis and
Yeah.
thinking too much, building too many walls for yourself. Just like you got to keep producing. It's like the whole pottery experiment. You make 100 pots. Those people were better than the ones who focused on 10.
Yeah.
Like, and of course, like, learn along the way, get information from the right people and stuff. But at the end of the day, keep creating and don't let it go to waste. But,
Amazing message. Couldn't agree more. Thank you so much for calling in, my friend.
you too. Thank you. Take care.
Have a good one.
But, you too.
Yes.
Oh, more people came in.
Yes, I know.
I just
what do you guys think? We're going to be here all day? Look, you scared them away.
Sorry.
Hello, Max. Yes, we are allowed to take
Oh,
snack
God.
breaks. There's cookies here. Okay? Of course
Oh
we're
my
allowed.
god, another. Maybe I just shouldn't say, because then people will just not
They can
come
keep
in.
joining. Oh,
They can, right?
You want them to come.
Yeah, right.
Okay, yes,
Isn't
yeah.
that the point?
I also want them to
Oh,
come
okay,
in.
cool.
I thought you were saying, oh, it's
No,
like
no,
too
no,
much.
No. I was just being like, wow, there's
Look what
people.
you did.
Oh.
Too many people now. All right, anyway. That's weird because it like fully like reset into a new group. Like the people
Oh, yeah,
waiting.
yeah. Cool. Sorry, it was like recent. I was like, huh? Anyway.
Swayam. Go ahead. Somebody tell me I'm pronouncing it wrong. Hello.
Hello, TAETRO. Hello, dolltr. Greetings from Michigan.
Hello.
From Michigan.
Hi.
How are you?
Good. How about you guys?
It's our 24 minus 3, 21, 21.5.
Yeah.
Wow. We're doing pretty good.
Almost at the end.
You did fantastic with my name. You pronounced it absolutely correctly.
Great. Now I'm never going to be able to remember how to say it.
That's why I'm...
what I said in the first place. But thank you for calling in.
Okay.
What did you want to talk about?
So in my day job, I deal with a lot of physics and mathematics.
Me too. I sit up, sit down. I add donations. I
Which
subtract.
we should probably do an update for.
Anyway, sorry to cut you off.
So that piqued my interest in music as well. So like how vibrations work and how sound can be expressed as functions and summations of functions. So naturally, I delved a lot into sound synthesis, which means I work mostly with hardware synthesizers or plugins on a computer. And it becomes sometimes hard to explain to people how you can make music without using, quote unquote, traditional instruments. I just wonder how you guys deal with it. Like genuinely, when someone asks you the question like, hey, without using a drum set, how can you create drum sounds? So if you guys can provide your insight on that.
This is like people that think like MIDI keyboard's not a real keyboard.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, those people exist. And sometimes I make fun of them. Other times I just ignore them. Because the thing is, like, they're passing like a value judgment on something you're doing, something you enjoy doing, something like they're basically saying something is not real that is physically in front of them.
Yeah.
Like, this is not real. Like, this music you're making, it's not real. It's invalid because of XYZ. Like, that's all made up. And like, you don't have to spend any time convincing them. Like, it's not your job. You don't need to spend any time convincing them. Like, they probably won't be convinced anyway. And there's probably hundreds of people that are super interested in what you're doing that you can spend your time and energy on talking to them about what you're doing.
Yeah. Having been someone who was originally like, a purist about a lot of this music stuff, right? I've come from that direction. Yeah, it's true. I'd also maybe add, in addition to what TAETRO already mentioned, that it's very hard to change, and this maybe even speaks broader to my other experiences also outside of music. It's very hard to change the mind of someone who does not want their mind to be changed.
Yeah.
And also, it's not really your job. Don't feel like you need to take on this burden. If you want to, then that's up to you. But maybe this is even more so from my experience too. But it is exhausting to try to sometimes convince people otherwise. A very perhaps somewhat silly anecdote. I don't know if I ever told you this because it was so funny. I went to the dentist and the dental hygienist was trying to be like friendly and so on. And they were asking me my job and stuff. And I was like, yeah, I do electronic music and I teach and stuff. And they said, so it's not really real music, right?
Really?
This was a couple years ago too.
Was it a joke? What did they mean?
To be honest,
because a normal person wouldn't say that.
No, Yeah, I don't really know. But anyway, right? I was just there for my dental appointment, so I let it go. Not my job to change my hygienist's mind. Not my job to make a case for whatever things I've done. So it's a little bit like, you pick and choose your battles.
Yeah.
If that's a
How do you want to
maybe.
spend your energy?
Yeah. I don't have a lot of it left. Even without a 24-hour stream, I don't have a lot of energy.
That would be a hard one not to respond to.
Yeah.
It's such a bold comment.
I'm trying to remember how I responded, but I don't think I can. I think I just found it like funny internally, but I also didn't laugh because this person was going to do my dental. So
Yeah. That's the other thing. They're
Just
talking
in
to you
case,
with
yeah.
sharp instruments
It's
in
like-
your mouth, expecting you to answer.
yeah. So
But you floss every day, so
I do floss every day. So
probably liked you. Did that answer the question?
Yes, I'll just tag along and add one of my anecdotes for anyone who's interested. My girlfriend's father, like he's in a band, and like they started making music like in the 70s or 80s.
Mhm.
They had the same perception. So to convince him, I had to take him to the studio and said, okay, you just play the guitars and record your vocals, then I'll add the bass line, the drums, and I'll mix the track. And that finally convinced him, like, oh, okay, so what you guys are also doing is music.
Right.
So, like Dominic said, you can choose your battles, I guess.
Yeah. Well, I think winning over the father-in-law figure is a
that's
a worthwhile battle.
important.
The dental hygienist
That
not
is,
high on the
yeah.
ranking. The potential
potential
father-in-law.
dad-in-law, yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
Well, thanks for your answer, guys. Really appreciate it.
Yeah,
and also,
thanks for calling.
you guys doing an amazing with this 24-hour live stream. It's crazy. You guys are committed
It
to
is.
it. Job well done.
Yeah. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Thanks for calling in.
Okay, bye.
Bye.
Uh,
Excellent question too.
Good question. Jaw Hopping Milo, you can ask a question in the chat. Isomatic, I appreciate you trying to help, but don't tell people in chat what they can and can't do. We have mods, and we have me, and we have Claire. But I appreciate you. I know you're trying to help, so it's okay. But yeah, Milo, if you ask your question in chat, we'll get to it probably between callers. All right, Sty Bander. And this is probably last call for anybody who wants to call in. If you want to call in, you better get in the waiting room now. I'm about to close the waiting room because we're going to have to move on to trivia at some point. We don't have to do it right at 3. We can do it at 3:30.
Stipend?
Hello.
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 Welcome to the stream.
Can you hear me?
Yes.
Yes.
Can you hear me?
Yes, I can hear you.
Perfect.
Just want to say congrats. It was a very
Thank
good
you.
cause.
Thank you.
Hitting 10K
Thanks.
plus.
Heck
Are
yeah.
you going to go additive? Are you going to go 15K next year? Are you going to go 20?
I don't even want to think about that. I think that there is a cap. And I also am with the reality of like, who is in this community? Like, of course, some people like were very generous and able to be very generous, but I'm also very conscious of the fact that most of my community is like beginner music positions. They're musicians. What am I even saying? Beginner musicians, like just trying to save up $100 for a MIDI keyboard, or people that just took this up as a hobby. I know how the economy is, you know, like. So it was not a sure thing that we would even get close to 10,000 this year. I'm so glad we did. So I don't know. I want to be what's real in this community. I think 10K seemed to be a healthy, but last year was the first year I felt comfortable at 5K. I felt like we could easily do that. Since this was the second year, I was slightly scared to do 10K because that is a bit of a stretch, but I figure if we're going to do this annually, we should have a goal that is maybe higher than we think we can achieve. But I wonder what the cap is. Maybe there's some conditions that could make 20,000 or 15,000 even possible next year, like a bigger brand sponsorship or like some different kind of integration that gets it out to an even bigger audience than just mine.
I have to think about it though, definitely.
Getting more creators involved.
Yeah.
Because we were talking about changes. Now that's when I think about like it would have been cool to have like, first of all, there's a bunch of people in LA that like I thought about like just inviting them over, but this is so chaotic. Like I'm not ready for that. I probably couldn't make it as successful today, maybe next year perhaps. Or like for the award categories, could we have a different person that people would recognize, present or not present or announce the winner, like on
Yeah.
even just on a video, pre-recorded video or something. But our process, like that wasn't possible this year. So anything that could help blast it out bigger, I think could help us go bigger. But hey, I'm just gonna do my part. I'm gonna call on these brands every year to help to incentivize the community. You know, get people here with the allure of cool giveaways and swag and fun times. And if we can keep doing that, I don't know. We'll see. What can we do?
I mean, from what I heard you did last year and almost doubling it or doubling it, that's just crazy to fathom. So like again, congrats.
Thank you.
I guess I need to think of like a music question.
You don't have to. You don't have to
It's
rack your
okay.
brain.
No, don't worry
No,
about it.
it's cool. It's cool. So do you think there's going to be like a paradigm shift with the landscape with AI? Like, how Midjourney with the art field and like how digital art and how it's affecting that industry in some kind of way? Do you think there's going to be like a ripple effect with how it is with like lo-fi music and AI and how it could affect streaming and all that?
Probably. I bet that there's already not human artists on playlists that a lot of you listen to. I was at a conference, not a conference. I was at some event like probably 4 years ago, pre-pandemic. And it was like this kind of tech event. And it was like a bunch of different like small tech startups, companies, whatever. And this one company, this guy played me a thing on his phone. They worked in AI, like audio and music. And he like played a sound of upright piano playing a piece. And what it was the AI not only generated the musical composition that sounded like a purely fantastically passable upright piano composition, but it also generated the sound of the upright piano. So like, what does that mean? Do people consume in a way that they care about the person that they're listening to? I mean, we're in lo-fi music. Even us, a dedicated community, how many of you, besides people in this community that we know personally, how many people can say, oh, I love this lo-fi artist? There's probably like a handful. But if you go to those study playlists, like,
I see.
Like people, we're like enthusiasts, right?
Sure.
But the average person that puts on a study playlist, they don't know that it's Saikai that they're listening to on the playlist. Sorry, Saikai. That wasn't shade. I didn't mean that as shade. But like the average person, do they know that it's Mondo loops on the playlist? Maybe. What do you think the percentage is? 5% of people like, hey, I really like this song. Let me go listen to more Mondo loops. No, and everybody does have their fans. I'm just wondering what percentage is like, okay, the playlist, the song gets 1 million plays. How many of those 1 million people are people that just stumbled into the playlist and will listen to the playlist on repeat? What percentage of those people are like, I like that artist, let me go find more? I don't know. So that the thought is, it's way easier to have a robot make that music, know, if it's indistinguishable. So what will happen?
I don't know. To be honest, I don't think I have. I do actually work quite a lot with, gen tools and stuff like that in music creation. But at the same time, I feel like I don't yet have enough information to make, a proper opinion that I can share in complete confidence. So I will share this though. I think there was a really wonderful talk at a conference called Ableton Loop a couple of years ago. That maybe you were there too, I don't know, but it was in LA, it was 2018 Loop.
I was definitely at Loop,
and I was at this specific talk, so I remember this a lot. So Sty Bender, I'm gonna put it in the YouTube chat, and if it interests you, feel free to check it out. But this was one of the things that really got me start thinking about a lot of AI, ML stuff, machine learning for folks who are not familiar with ML.
If a robot,
cool.
So, yeah.
If a robot can mix and master my track, which we already have plugins that, we have plugins that do that, that are capable of doing that, whether or not they do it well. Every site has an AI mastering tool now, and then Isotope has AI assistant. If a AI can make my life easier as an artist, all for it. I think maybe there's a slight danger in AI generated music. However, I think it will create a divide between like passionate people, people who are passionate about the music that they listen to versus people that are passive. And it will, and maybe, you know, like actual human artists will become more of a top shelf thing where it's like, oh, you listen to AI music. I listen to this artist or whatever. Or I think what we are doing and what we have done in the past, relationship building with a community, a robot can't do that in the same way. So,
Thank you for your
yeah.
Thank you for your input.
Thank you
Appreciate
for calling, and thank you for supporting the Beattober efforts, my friend.
All right. Have a good one, guys.
Yeah, you too. Thanks.
I have to go to the bathroom again.
Okay, cool.
I'm drinking too much water. What do you want to talk about this time? I'll come up with a topic.
So we actually only have 20 minutes left.
You want to start it at 3:30?
Can we
Are you
do
comfortable with that?
3:30 maybe?
Do you think that that's enough time for the trivia? Can we stop the trivia game at any point?
Yeah, we could.
Yeah. Also, not that I'm trying to work forever, but
So actually,
I'm gonna get rid of the call-in link. Thank you for everybody. If you're in the
actually should be fine.
if you are in the waiting room, we're gonna do our best to get to you unless for some reason it goes way over time. I'm gonna run to the bathroom really quick, and then we will continue taking the calls.
Cool, awesome.
I mean,
so
you could take a call on the way. But
yeah, for sure. It's okay. Let me just do a little bit of organization for the waiting. I do always have to organize. I do always have to organize things, including sometimes spreadsheets that teacher refuses to listen to me about for formulas, but they will help him very much. And I know that now he's in the bathroom. I mean, but when he rewatches this, please accept, TAETRO, that spreadsheet formulas are cool. Anyway, I'm gonna say, okay, hold on. Let me just change a couple things, y'all. Sorry about this. Let's see. Okay. Anyway, here we go. Cool. So actually, while we're waiting for the next couple of folks as well, TAETRO and I just now, we were eating some oatmeal raisin cookies. If everybody who would like to share would like to put their favorite kind of cookie in the chat, please feel free to do so. I will also put my favorite kind of cookie in the chat. You will find out. TAETRO just asked, what is it? And I'm about to put it in the chat. So here we go. Okay, cool. I see some coming in. Thanks, y'all. This is great. Oatmeal cookies, mint chocolate chip. I have yes, lots of chocolate chip. Yay. Mine is in the chat. Yay. It's quite sinful. So it's very rich, but I do like them a lot. I have a weakness for, it. It's funny. I've been like avoiding saying it because TAETRO's right there. But yeah, okay, cool. Let's see, what else do we have? We have mint chocolate chip, snickerdoodle. Those are really good too. Oreos are great as well. Browned butter chocolate chip. Ooh, that one's a good one. Oatmeal raisin is great. Oatmeal cookies. Yeah, those are good. Oh, Thin Mints. Oyama's music. Yeah, those are great. Would those be classified as cookies? I'm not sure, but
Yes.
I like them regardless.
They are Girl Scout.
Oh yeah, they are.
cookies.
Yeah. That's right. Yeah,
Wow.
yeah. Totally.
I leave for 1 second and we're
Sorry.
declassifying Thin Mints as cookies.
Sorry. Totally. You know what? I wasn't even thinking of Thin Mints until you said
Double
the
chocolate
girl
chip.
stuff. Yeah.
So like a chocolate cookie with chocolate chips in it?
Yeah. How about you?
I can say an answer that will get me a great Christmas present. My mom's chocolate chip cookies.
Shout out to TAETRO's mom.
Close second, just a Chips Ahoy chocolate chip cookie. I love
those are nice also.
I could eat a whole box.
Now, what I was thinking of when I said the Thin Mints, now I know what. I actually really like Thin Mints too. The one I was thinking of was another type of. Maybe someone could help me out in the chat with this because I don't know. It's not those, but it's actually a mint chocolate
Thin Mint.
No, it's not a Thin Mint. After Eights. Oh my God! Thank you, K Ordinary. Thank you.
What?
You
there was
rock.
no hint.
It is After Eights. My mother
What is
loves
an
those.
After
Hi,
Eight?
Mom. Mom loves After Eights.
This is not the right keyboard. This is not the keyboard I'm looking for.
Oh, would you? What are you doing? You want to look at After Eights? Let me show you After Eight. They're great.
I
Thanks.
can Google things.
Oh. Okay. Yeah, in the green box.
Oh my god, this
remember
looks like
these.
something you would show up at, like your girl. Oh, this is not a cookie.
Yeah, that's why. So I was like, wait a minute. But I like these too. Yeah, I know. I think someone mentioned. Oh yes, Amelia. Sorry, Amelia doesn't like them. Like those flavors.
This also looks like a carton of menthol cigarettes, doesn't it? Like similar like style packaging.
No.
Kind of does.
Okay.
So if these aren't a cookie, what are they?
I guess they're just mint-filled chocolates.
Yeah. Like an Andes.
Like an Andes, yeah.
Oh.
Right, like that.
I didn't even realize that they were.
They're right there.
So they're
Yeah.
like same category.
Somewhat, yes.
Okay.
Although After Eights, like if you take a look at the inside, it's the mint part is encased in
Like
chocolate.
a caramel?
Versus in Andes,
Oh.
it's like a layer, so you can see the mint layer. Oof.
What is this website? Look what you've done.
Oh, sorry.
Oh, they're like not like a U.S. product. I think is the vibe.
Very divisive. Yeah, my mom likes them, but my dad doesn't because my dad's like they taste like toothpaste.
I think that's great.
Which is perhaps
instead of
right.
brushing your teeth at
Yeah.
night, you just pop it After Eight.
Yeah.
Right before bed.
I know.
Maybe you just keep the box by the bed. You go to sleep, pop an After Eight, chew it, swallow it, sleep.
Wow.
You got minty fresh. It's very refreshing.
Oh my god.
All right, we got to keep going.
I just saw a note Amelia left. Is dolltr secretly starting a food show? We talked about chocolates, nuts, cookies, ramen. The answer is yes, which brings me to no, don't move. I need to,
don't
we need to do the final kind of the final countdown, but we also need to do the final segment of my bigger segment for the entire special segment of the stream, which has been TAETRO. dolltr brings TAETRO items from around the world time. So here's the final installment. And actually, this is good because I asked about cookies, right? So our final installment. Would folks like to guess which part of the world
Is it
this
something
one
I can eat
will
right
come
now?
from? It is something that you can
I'm
eat
happy
right
about that.
now. Or that TAETRO will be able to eat right now if he so chooses.
Oh, I'm eating it.
Let's see. Do you have any guesses on where this one is from? It's kind of tricky also.
There's no
but
like category. How can I possibly guess?
It's just a country.
It's just a country. Like imagine the Jeopardy question.
Oh, okay. So we got Malaysia, Honduras,
country.
Singapore,
I just keep going the
via
three condensers.
dolltr. Well, I'll put you out of misery because I actually do want to eat some
French.
also.
They're from France.
No, unfortunately, they're not. We had Japan earlier on today, so that was an excellent guess. We did have some really nice peanuts from there. This one comes via Australia, but I think you can get them in locations also
I
other
could've
than
guessed that
Australia.
because you just
I went to
there.
Australia.
I could've
Yeah, I
used
was there
clues.
for work. Here is, and I think it has your name on it.
Why does it have my name on it?
Because I had a couple of them. I needed to like differentiate who I'm giving to what. We have everybody.
Salted caramel flavored brownie. I'm so glad that it is not orange flavored. Oh, a Tim Tam. I've heard of this before.
Would you
Never
like
had
to,
one.
to show the people?
chat. See it, people. Look at it.
It's Tim Tams.
The lighting situation is not good for like showing people.
Yeah.
Oh God! Don't worry. Tim Tam. That's a good view.
Yay, Tim Tams.
We're gonna share.
Oh, Max. Sorry, Max Mariotti said. Oh, I just said that earlier. Yeah, they're so good. Thanks, Max. Sorry, we didn't see that, but yep.
What? Everybody knows what a Tim Tam is in the chat.
These ones are the salted caramel flavors. So.
It's a Tim Tam made by the same company that makes Jim Jams.
Oh, that's interesting.
And
I'm
is
not
a Jim
sure.
is a Jim Jam made by the same people who make a Slim Jim. Oh, I really like the packaging. I really want to try an After Eight now that you talked about them.
Oh,
maybe
okay.
next time. You
But
can.
we should also get to the 5.
Okay, well, you're the one who decided to do a snack
I know,
segment.
right? I'm sorry. I'm done. Thanks for tuning in to dolltr brings TAETRO items from around the world segment time.
This is my favorite segment of the whole Beatober.
Yay.
Moon Goat. Yeah, hello?
Greetings.
Hi,
Greetings.
Can you hear me?
greetings. Yes, we
From the
can.
moon.
Okay, cool. So, right, is this like a Q&A or?
Is this a Q&A? You're sitting in the waiting room. We've been doing a call-in show. You better ask a question real quick because I
Right.
know how
So-
how Claire gets.
Right.
And
So
dolltr
this
gets.
so this was kind of talked about a little bit earlier, but what am I supposed to do if everybody just hates art that I like? And see, I get if it's just like at the dentist's office one time or someone that you only see once. But what if it's people like, you know, for me, like at school or people in my family at home who
That's
are
a good
kind
question.
of.
Yeah, that's a great question. I don't know. You have some thoughts, but
So what do you mean, like, what if? Like, what effect is it having on you?
See, some people, if I don't have a problem if people don't like the kind of music I like. I'm really into dubstep and future bass and that kind of thing. But I also have given them a little bit of your advice about how to say, like, you can say, I don't like this, but don't say, like,
This is bad.
This is bad. You know, you can state your opinion. But what everybody, I feel like, not everybody, but a lot of people, if they just hear me listening to a kind of music that they don't like, they'll say, oh, that's ass. Oh, that's terrible. And sometimes people call it, I don't know if this is like appropriate. They call it vibrator music, the music I like. Some people call it that. Yeah. And I know the best thing is to ignore them, but it's happening like constantly.
I guess it's happening because, I mean, like hardstyle genre, like, not that this is like an excuse or anything. It's just like, it's ripe for ridicule, right? Like, because like I was into emo music, right? Like there's this whole like emo revival thing happening now where like it's cool to be an e-boy and an e-girl. Like when emo shit was going down, like when I was in middle school, high school, like it wasn't cool to be into that stuff. But I think like you can't change the things that you like. Like you can't, especially not for other people. So like if you're just committed to the things that you like it's gonna feel bad sometimes. And also remind the chat and everybody how old you are, if you don't mind.
Yeah.
You do mind? Okay, never mind. Sorry.
What? No, wait.
Oh, how?
What are you gonna say?
I said remind the chat like how old you are.
Right. Yeah, I'm 12.
Yeah.
That's cool.
So like,
oh, wait, I turned 13 on the 4th. So.
nice.
You're about to be 13. I'm here to tell you the past year and maybe like the next 3 years ahead, not gonna be easy socially. Not gonna be easy. Like, not gonna feel the best socially. Everybody's going through stuff at that age. So what are people doing? They're like acting out in ways that either they want attention from you or putting you down makes them feel better because they're super insecure. Like, it's just like, it comes with the territory and there's not much you can do about it besides put your head down and like the things that you like, confidently like the things that you like. But I will say, because you're 12, about to turn 13, but you do speak very confidently, there is a potential that somebody will tell you that the music you're making is bad rather than saying that they don't like it. They could say it's bad and they could possibly be right. I don't think like all music is necessarily good. And I think especially when you're young and when you're a learner, you could potentially be making bad music. I have been a young person making bad music. I have told young people, I have told people on these streams, cool that you make that music, but I don't think anybody's going to want to listen to it. Sometimes, especially young people and people that are like amateurs, like you don't have to be young, people that like just started out, they throw out rules and conventions and, the things that the fundamentals that they need to learn with the excuse of, I'm just doing my music. And if I make my music, then it doesn't matter if it follows any of these rules. If you don't like it, F you. And you can make whatever you want. And if people don't like it, F you. But if you care about people's opinions and you want people to listen to your music, at some point you have to be real with yourself about whether you are actually using the excuse of I'm just an original, I'm just doing my thing, to just avoid learning fundamentals and avoid learning like concrete foundational stuff. I say that only because you're a very young person, and it's very easy as a very young person, especially since I've seen your videos and you are kind of like, for your age, semi-technically proficient. What that can do, and the biggest warning I have for you, is that's going to give you a layer of confidence at a very early age that has the potential to stifle your growth and also help you develop an attitude that is not super humble. Because if you're performing better than most people your age, it's easy to get caught up in feeling like you're better than them, not just in proficiency, but generally.
Yeah.
You know? So like you need to avoid that and ego check yourself constantly and approach things with like being humble and not thinking that you are the best thing to ever happen, but like best rock and roll and 12-year-old, whatever. I'm not saying that is true, but it is easy when you're young. And like, I've seen the stuff that you make, like I said, like you're ahead of me where I was when I was 12 for sure, ahead of most people that I know that are 12. Well, ahead of most 12-year-olds, I assume. I don't know many 12-year-olds.
But, I know a lot of 12-year-olds. So, yeah.
So yes, you have a talent, you have a gift, you have a passion, it's clear, and it's young. You have an advantage in that. What will hold you back is yourself and thinking that like you are just like so great. Like if you keep the mindset of keep improving, doesn't matter what anybody else is doing, doesn't matter what anybody else is saying. In fact, help people your age get to your level or learn the things that you are doing. Be a leader in your school music community. Help people. Don't be closed off and say this is the band for the cool kids, not for you. Like be a true leader with the gift that you have.
Okay.
Yeah, I mean, I don't have too much to add on, but I would say I think it also kind of depends a little bit on, because just now, you mentioned people are saying that they think they don't like your music, or perhaps they think it's bad. I think it also matters about their relationship to you. Also matters too, because I think a lot about when I was that age too, or not even like that too much long ago, right? Even now, when I think about folks who have told me that, I always consider my relationship to them. If it's a random person who I don't necessarily know about, right? Like it doesn't even have to be on the internet. It could even be an acquaintance from life or something who's telling me these things. I would definitely take that a lot more lightly than a mentor who I look up to and who's been, guiding me, saying, okay, this is not good.
Right.
So I think a lot about that too, because you were a little bit vague just now about like who exactly it is, and you don't have to share it with us, that's fine. But just think a little bit about that too, because similarly, like what you mentioned, TAETRO, about sometimes younger folks being in a very specific headspace about skills. I've encountered a lot of that as well. I do work quite a lot with youth. Still, and even as working in college, I get a lot of students sometimes who are fresh out of high school. Sometimes they might be the best music maker in their small town, and then they come to a very commercial college where it's highly competitive, and they suddenly realize that they aren't as big as they thought they were, and their world just crumbles down. So I think it can be really useful to just kind of, try to remain as grounded as you can. Make sure that you're, like TAETRO said, always checking yourself. It's important to have confidence, but at the same time recognize that there's always room for getting better and better and better. And not necessarily better than other people, but better than the last best version of yourself.
Yes.
I think that's something to think about too, because it's an important question that you bring up. So yeah.
The last thing I'll say is find a mentor, because like what Clara's saying about who is actually giving the feedback, it doesn't matter if somebody who doesn't really know much about music, somebody whose opinion, somebody whose taste in music you don't even like, doesn't like what you're doing.
Yeah.
What will matter way more is that if you have a mentor that you trust, means well, and wants to see you succeed, if they give you critical feedback, then you can take that and run with it, because that's a person that you trust that wants to see you succeed. And you're a member here, so when we resume our what are they called, track feedback streams, and you're able to submit music, you definitely have that in me, because I have no reason to tell you all like that your music is good. Trust me. If you guys want to unsubscribe and not become members, I will sleep fine. It's fine. I do not like.
Oh my God.
I would rather you be subscribed for a membership and know that you're getting true mentorship, aka I'm going to tell you exactly what I think, not because I want to act like I'm the cool guy who thinks he knows a lot. I don't think I know a lot. I think I'm a dumbass. But I do want to see you all succeed, like if you're in this community. So you have that from me, but I think you could probably seek it out like in your local community, depending on who you learn from, who are some older kids that you respect, who are some teachers in the space that you respect around you. Take what they say closer to heart than the rando that you don't really care. Even if the rando is your mom and you don't like the music that your mom listens to. You don't like your mom's taste, so why would you? Shout out to your mom. Your mom's probably very nice. Who can say?
My mom's fine. It's usually my dad who criticizes my taste.
Right. And if, let's not make this like too deep or whatever, but if you have a trusting relationship with him, perhaps he just has a different taste, or perhaps he is looking out for you a little bit and he wants to push you to be a little bit better. Could be, it's tricky. It's not always, it can be gray, and it's not always black and white.
All right.
All right, my friend. Thank you for calling in. We got to get to the other call, so I appreciate it.
Yes. All right. Thanks for all the feedback and stuff.
Take care.
No
Thanks for calling.
problem.
Bye.
Have a good one.
You too.
Very important questions.
Very important questions, especially from like, well, in general, we are having people from all over the world ask questions.
Yeah.
People of all ages, people of different genders, people of like different places in their like music production
life
thing. So this is a good call.
Thanks everyone for all of.
On the answers. You're crushing.
It's so tricky because like I really actually don't enjoy giving advice because
but this is great.
Because it can be so specific, and maybe also because honestly most of my experience with advice has largely been like unsolicited, so I have a little bit of a thing with like. I mean, in this case, I guess
this is completely solicited. This is exactly the opposite.
I know, that's why I still have a thing about it, but that's on me to kind of mentally gymnastics it out with myself. So
we have 4 more people in this waiting room. I got to tell you the truth. We have 30 minutes left. What's 30 minutes divided by 4? You got this. You got this. It's like a little more than 5 minutes per caller, right? 5, 10, 15, 20,
it's about like
6, 12, 18, 20. So
7.5 per person.
Okay. So just keep that in mind. We're going to do our best to give thorough answers. We've been like popping off on these. Do you see this every time I ask a question? Just a random number, and quick with it too. Like Amelia could fall asleep and I ask a question about a number and wakes out of sleep and just touches like the number pad on a keyboard. All right. I got Jason. I'm not saying you guys have to rush your question. I'm saying we'll just be mindful of time as we go forward. Oh, Jason.
Hi, Jason.
Tell me what you're thinking.
Can you hear me?
Yes.
Hello.
Hello.
Hi.
Yeah, my question is, I kind of be not being motivated to make music. It's I'm not sure if you guys have that experience, but how do you guys keep yourself motivated to do what you like?
Well, I think if I could go for this, it's a tricky question, Jason, and I think it kind of also depends a little bit on what your goal is, right? Because I think it can be done. This question can be answered in many ways. It really depends a little bit on the context. For example, if you initially wanted to do music because you enjoyed it, then I think there's maybe a little bit less pressure for you when you don't enjoy it. You don't have to force yourself to do it. But if it does come to a point where, you know, you're genuinely serious about, let's say, making something a career, then maybe the fact that you are not motivated speaks enough to say that you shouldn't be making it a career. It might sound a little bit harsh, but I think that's quite a significant indication. It doesn't mean that you have to stop creating music at all. No. But I think it means that we have to kind of think a little bit about what the goal is, right? Because maybe if you're not motivated and if it's really a little bit more of a hobby to you, like something that you're just interested in, maybe you can go a little bit easier on yourself. I know there are days that, you know, like sometimes mental health is like, you know, it's really bad, or there's like life stuff. And on those days for me, my hobbies are like reading, like I mentioned, right? So I feel like on those days, I never want to read anything. So I let it go, right? And then when I do feel like I want to get back to reading, then I go back to reading, right? And there's no pressure there because reading is something that I love to do, just even without making it my job. As for music, I love it so much that I could never not be motivated to do it. So for me, that's my differentiator. But
Yeah,
You're
thank
crazy.
you.
sorry.
That's a very fortunate situation.
Yeah.
So I'm happy to give a different
Yeah,
perspective.
please. Yeah.
Because I don't always feel motivated. Some days I don't feel motivated to do anything besides like watch my favorite YouTube channel or like play Xbox or something. And what I've learned, I'll say what I've learned is it always comes back. It never goes away for good. There are just days where it swings in a certain direction. Maybe it's 1 or 2 days, rarely more than that. But if I trust that it is always going to come back, I think what can happen for many people is it creates like this negative loop. I wasn't motivated today. I didn't make a track. And all you're thinking about is how much you are mad at yourself for not doing that thing. So then the next day you wake up, you're like, I got to make a track. I got to make a track because I didn't do one yesterday. And that like causes just stress. So you end up not doing it as much. So I think like I definitely experienced that. But once I realized like I was kind of in these cycles, and I wouldn't say it's like every week the same, every month the same, every whatever the same. It's just like if I recognize these days when I'm like, I don't feel like doing anything. I not even just feel like doing anything. I don't feel motivated to do anything. Then I trust that like, okay, today's a L day. And even if I try to do something, then it's going to turn out probably bad, or I'm going to be more frustrated or more stressed. Take the L for the day. Wake up tomorrow. If I feel the same, we'll take one more L of a day. If it persists past that, I know it might be like more of a problem, and it hasn't really been that. So because the recognition is also that there are days when I wake up and I can get so much stuff done, or I feel motivated to like make this video, make this beat, like send all these emails, do all this stuff that I'm supposed to do.
Yeah.
Make all the music, like work on 2 sessions in a day, do a painting. And so when you learn more about yourself, and like we talked about like taking notes about like music that you like and stuff, and it's like maybe even just taking a journal about your good days and bad days, where it's like, today I felt great, I got all this stuff done. Today I felt not so great, I didn't get a lot done. And then you look at that after like a month, after 6 months, and you're like, that's weird. In the middle of every other month, I go through a little slump. Then it becomes a thing where it's like, you can just like schedule that. You could be like, then in the middle of every other month, I'm just not going to do anything, and I'm not going to force myself. And most importantly, I'm not going to feel bad about not doing anything. Figure out what your like cycle is, I guess. I don't know. I feel like I have cycles like that. So while Claire feels motivated to do music all the time.
I mean, I'll add one thing though, which I didn't add just now, but reminded me of something because of something that Jose Garza mentioned in the chat. Sometimes if I felt like I do remember there being days where, you know, I felt hesitant to do something, right? But sometimes it's about just doing the thing, and then you kind of fall into it. So I think that's also very valid too. It's like you start thinking about like stuff.
Not on the floor.
Thank you. You start thinking about you start what was I saying? Yeah, you start thinking about you know, so much about the task that you're gonna do that you get overwhelmed. But the moment you are into it, it kind of just flows. It's a little bit of like it's not really flow state, but it's more of like taking that first leap.
It's like you're basically tricking your brain into doing more than you think. Like lying to yourself a little bit. We're just gonna do this.
Yeah, and then it's like,
come on.
Right? Yeah. It's true.
Yeah,
it's true. In a way, that was now that I know, since I'm not just saying this because of like the theme, but that's kind of what happens sometimes for Beatober for me. It's like, okay, I need to do this.
Yeah.
And then it's like, at first it's a bit stressful, but the moment I do it, it's like,
yeah,
there it goes.
I talked about it on the earlier stream. It's like for working out, right? Like if you have never worked out before, you're like, I'm going to run 5 miles. The next day you wake up, you're like, I can't run 5 miles. I'm never going to do that. Okay, I'm going to wrap up the point and then we're going to jump.
No, I'm sorry. I was just like,
it's fine.
I was stressed.
You say, you don't say I'm going to run 5 miles. You say, tomorrow I'm going to put on workout clothes. You take the easiest version of the task. Once you have the workout clothes on, you're going to walk outside. You'd be like, I'm going to walk. Then you might jog up the street. And you know, at the end of the day, you might not have run 5 miles, but maybe you walked 2, or maybe you walked 1 and jogged 1. Like that's progress. Whereas like if you set yourself up with a big goal that's not super achievable, you set yourself up for disaster. So we have to keep moving, Jason, but thank you so much for calling in. I hope that helped. Hopefully all the advice from like all the other producers can be taken into account too. Like, but this won't be our last call and show. So in the future, just look forward to more and stay connected to the community because the community can help you too.
Okay.
Thank you so much for calling
Thanks,
in.
Jason.
All right, KB, wrecked without wasting time.
Wow.
There's some situation there.
Yeah.
I'm sitting on my foot and it hurts. KB Rex. If your name is Milo Dodds and Sean Meyer, get ready. And make sure your microphones are squared away. We're going to give it about 1 more minute before we move on. KB, I know you've been waiting a bit, but I just want to make sure we can get to these calls and that everything is ready. I just want to see what's happening here.
Yeah, for sure. Hi, KB. If you can hear us on the stream, we semi have you in the room. You need to connect to audio, please. Oh, yay! Cool. I see the ellipsis kind of moving a bit.
Oh,
hi,
hello.
KB. Hello. Hi. How's it going? We can hear you loud and
Good.
clear. That's great. Yeah. So feel free to. Sorry, we're rushing you a little bit, but feel free to ask away or start sharing.
Right on. I have 5 questions about dropping the beat.
Questions about dropping the beat, Mr.
Questions
Yes.
about dropping the beat.
Yes.
Rapid fire, maybe like 1 minute per question.
Okay.
Go.
Cool. Go.
Okay. First off, what is a beat drop?
What is a beat drop? Oh, I was going to kick it to you. What do you
Okay,
mean?
me. Most exciting part of the song doesn't necessarily have to be the introduction of the beat, but should be the most impactful part.
Yep, I agree. It's that moment that you're like, it's coming, and finally, it's here.
Yep. Okay. Next one.
Go.
You got it, KB.
Okay.
Yeah.
How to drop the beat?
How to drop the beat?
Build up suspense, build up tension, even like subvert a little expectation. What you often hear in songs is like this big build up, drums, they increase in rate, or like risers that grow over time. That's all building tension, but what happens a lot of the time is right before the beat drops, silence in the track. It builds up all this tension, like beat drop, boom.
Whoa, that's cool.
Yeah. Jumping on that, it's TAETRO mentioned tension. I say release. So finding out
Well,
a
the
way
drop
to
is the release.
So
Yeah,
finding out a way to like properly transition into that. If there's silence, might not even need to be on like the last beat before the start of the drop, but could be the first beat that is dropped out. So for example, you take something away. As a hint, my Beattober Day 30 entry has an example of this. So that's why I immediately thought of this. Okay, thank you, KB. Next question, please.
Go.
Okay, so when do you drop the beat?
When to drop the beat? I would say depends on the genre. Study genres that you want to make music after and follow when they drop the beat. TAETRO.
Yeah, you can literally chart out a map, count bars and beats. Like, oh, they did they did a quiet intro for 4 bars. Then some percussion started coming in for the next 8 bars. And then 4 bars later, there was this big tension thing. And then the beat dropped. And boom, that's where it is.
Cool.
But golden mean, I'll say. Golden mean,
Yeah.
like the golden
Yeah,
rule,
yeah.
like 3/4 of the way through your track-ish, or what is it? Is it like 2/3?
I think it's like, 2/3, yeah.
2/3 of the way through your track should be like the most like kind of impactful
Yeah.
moment. And that is that golden mean, if you just look that up, or the golden ratio.
Yeah, golden ratio. Yeah.
That's something in like all art, not just music. It's just like how our brains are wired to our expectations, or like what is most satisfying to our brains. So look into more of that golden ratio.
Well, next
for
question, KB. You're doing great.
Oh, that hit. Okay, so the instrument difference between the beat and the drop.
Cool. I did a really great series on this as a part of Splice Skills. So if you want to check that
Hashtag
out,
ad.
I'm not sponsored by them, but I did do a series on that. If people want to check that out, I'd be happy for you to do so. But in a nutshell, having at least one element that is not in the previous section, the preceding section, adds a little bit of stuff, right? You shouldn't have exactly the same instruments and patterns in both sections.
Go listen to Blackpink's How You Like That. It's a song called How You Like That. Listen to how that intro to that song, the first verse to finally when the chorus drops. If I had to give an example of a song with drops, boom, that's a song you got to listen to. And you can listen to the difference in the reason K-pop came to mind specifically was because you asked about instrumentation, and often what happens in K-pop songs is like the verse will drastically be different instrumentation wise than like the big drop or the chorus, or like sections will just be like almost different genres sometimes. So K-pop is a great reference for that, but Claire linked How You Like That in the chat. You should definitely check that out for like, you'll be like, yeah, this is a drop.
Cool. That was question number 4. So Kibi, your last question. Let's go.
Okay, so the last question is your guys' summary of dropping the beat.
I think we pretty much answered it, but a huge buildup of tension followed by like a very satisfying feeling of release that takes place at the right moment in a song that makes your listener just feel it. Your listener makes a face. Your listener remembers that moment, that kind of thing.
Yeah. Pretty much same thing that teacher mentioned, because it's kind of at some point it does become like a universal thing applied across songs. So yeah,
KB Rex, you did an amazing job of making that a rapid fire.
That was
thing
awesome.
On theme.
Super cool.
That was
Thank
super
you,
cool.
Thank you, dolltr.
No problem.
Thank you so much for calling
in. Yeah, that was fun.
Keep rocking.
Have a good one.
See ya.
Not trying to rush
That
people.
was awesome. That was so cool.
I like
I liked that. That was great.
focused
Thanks,
theme.
KB Rex. That was great. Super cool.
That could be a series.
Rapid fire with
fire. Drop the beat.
Yeah.
Milo, Harper Milo. Thank you so much for calling in, and thank you so much for your Beatover support.
Oh, totally. It's been awesome. A great experience. So, two questions. Last night, when you guys were doing the challenge where you guys gave each other clips, dolltr, what was the board that you were using? Because that board looked amazing, and I love the sounds that you were creating.
Yeah, for sure. So the name of that device was Push 2, Ableton Push 2. It's created by the good folks at Ableton, so I use it pretty much all the time in any of my work. But I will say this though, because I get a lot of questions like about Push 2 because I use it a lot. But I would say this: it's very cool, but I usually only tend to recommend it to folks who really know that their DAW is live, partially because of the price point of Push. As much as I love Ableton as a company, Push is quite expensive on its own. It's about $800 before tax. So it is quite an investment. But if, for example, like if you know that you are dedicated, if you have dedicated your life to live, then maybe it could be something to look into. But yeah, Ableton Push 2.
Yeah, I figured it was about that price point, so I'm not too worried about that.
Cool.
So,
awesome.
Okay, here's my question for the two of you guys. You guys have different styles and different workflows. What is it that you've learned from each other over this Beatober, and maybe even outside of this Beatober? What have you gotten from each other? That's my question. I'll take it offline.
Thank you, Milo.
Yeah, thank you, Milo.
Well, I have learned a lot from Claire.
I've learned a lot from you.
It's kind of like a peer thing where it's like you see your peers like just doing cool stuff or doing stuff that's like pushes the not to be overly dramatic, but like pushes the boundaries of what you think you're capable of.
Yeah, I think it's totally true.
And it's like so it's like that's motivating to be in a peer. It's like similar to like this community with all of you. No matter if you find people that are on the same level as you, like you see what other people are doing, so that motivates you to do more. Same thing here, and it's like you had an original song every single day. So it's like if you write an original song every day, that tells me that I could write an original song every week, probably.
Yeah, I mean, kind of same, and I know this almost seems like ping pong. We have to do it back and forth, but I mean this like in like the most sincere way possible. Every time you do stuff with your community, it inspires me to no end because I get. This is almost a little bit of like a mental health thing, but I really get a lot of anxiety from being with people. And it is cool to see you be able to use this platform to gather this many people together. So I don't even know if you know this, but just now when we hit the 10,000, I almost cried because I was very emotional. I was like, this is so crazy to be able to like gather a group of people together like this. So always admiring the way that you are able to do that. Yeah. And it kind of inspires me to think a little bit of like, okay, when I finally get to addressing this like mental thing that I'm doing, which will come, I want it to come. I'm thinking about, you know, even the potential that lies there, like with my own, like,
you and developing a community. Exactly.
Yeah, for sure.
And it's like just you show each other what's possible. Like, like you're both, we're both like as peers, like pushing in different directions. So you see like, wow, Dolltr was able to do that. Could I do something even close to that? Like, could I get even close to it or whatever?
One thing I've definitely learned from you though is to, and this is like something I'm so grateful for, is just to be bolder and to like be yourself on the internet. Because I don't even know if I told you this before, but before I did the dolltr stuff, I had like other music that I just released under my old name, and this was like years ago. And a part of me, I stopped doing that YouTube channel eventually because I just couldn't stand being in like an online sphere. Like I was scared of people, you know, coming at me for whatever reason. I was scared of just like at a point being judged, which was kind of sad because when I first started doing my very first YouTube channel, I was just excited. I was an excited 12-year-old or something like that. And by the time it finished, I was, I don't want to say traumatized, but I was like, I didn't like it anymore and I stopped. That was it. Right. So
other
so
people
I think,
like killed it for you.
Yeah. So I think just being able to learn from like you and how you handle stuff, even just like me watching from the other side of the country in New York has been really inspiring. So thank you for that.
Well, thank you for helping push the boundaries of what I do. And I'm always worried about my proficiency. It's like, I'm not even joking when I'm like, I am like, sometimes I'm joking, but it is like, Claire's certified trainer, Berkeley professor, like, especially when we do these collabs and it's like, oh my God, we're collabing and I gotta like show up for this stuff. And we were talking about, this is going to go on too long. We were talking about our last collab.
Yeah.
And you shared with me how you were like when because I had chosen that song and you agreed to it, but you were like secretly like, oh shit, for certain reasons about that song. But then I also have similar things where like we're collaborating on something. I'm collaborating with Claire. I have to have my shit together. Like it has to be like top notch, or she's gonna be like, who is this amateur?
No. But I mean, to sum things up, I think maybe this even is the last thing that we say before we go on to Sean. It's so important to find people that inspire you to be better, right? Like regardless of whether that's a peer or maybe even like someone that it's slightly diagonally above, you know, like maybe not a super exact peer, but someone to aspire a little bit towards somewhat. I don't know.
I think we have maybe in different spaces we are that like for each other, like in certain respects. I think it's something I struggle to find usually usually in music community, so it's good to have peers in the space. The lesson is it's good to have peers in the space. Round of applause. Peers in the space. Sean Meyer.
It's okay. Maybe we'll do Sean first.
Well, which drink do you want?
Well, maybe let's let the chat decide if one of us should take orange and one of us should take red.
Who gets red and who gets orange?
We'll do a poll. So hold on, please.
Hold your thoughts.
Sorry, chat. Hold on.
Sean gets the final word. Sean Meyer.
Hi, Sean.
Hello, can you hear me?
Yes, we
hear
can.
you loud and clear.
Great.
Hi, yeah. What would you like to ask or chat about?
Oh, well, I want to say thank you for taking my call.
Yeah, for sure.
And congratulations on both success on both of your guys' channels.
Thank you. Thank you so much.
Good. Also, Claire, I want to thank you for being such a good teacher.
Yeah, sure, no problem. Thank you. I mean, we both enjoy teaching, so it's fun.
Yeah, it was. I went through the 343 Labs.
Ableton manual.
Yes, yes, I went through the whole steps, and before I
Okay,
cracked
cool,
open the
cool.
software, I learned a whole lot.
Yeah, sure. No, I'm so glad that you found that useful. Awesome.
Forgot you even did it.
I know. I was like, wait. It's just because we called it a different name. So yeah. Cool. Very cool. I'm so glad to hear that. Thank you, Sean.
Yes, I was wondering, since both of you guys use Live, I was wondering where do you see the future of Ableton going as far as a company?
Oh wow.
Don't. Okay, I'll
Or we
answer.
could, or I
Well, first of all, the release of Note is huge.
Yeah.
That is a big step forward. I think if Ableton can make the tent, I'm going to be a little critical, even though they're great supporters, but I have no problem being critical of my supporters. If they can broaden the tent and bring more people in, kind of think more towards contemporary genres, think more towards, or not just more towards a younger generation, but at least include a younger generation in things that are happening, in, you know, taking that into account when developing the software, when bringing artists in to promote the software, when creating sounds for the software. If Ableton can do that, they will have a bigger, broader, more vibrant community than they already have. So that would be great if we could go there. For me, my brain has just always clicked with Ableton Live. So I hope things just keep going on the up and up.
Yeah, I mean, like for me, I think most of my wishes are actually quite similar. For more context, I think when I got into Live, a lot of the tools that Ableton as a company has now that they provide to musicians did not exist. For example, making music as a book wasn't published back then by Dennis DeSantis. Learningmusic.ableton.com was also not in existence. Neither was learningsynths.ableton.com or Note, which only just got released this year. Right. So I think a lot of the more recent initiatives by Ableton in the last couple of years have been really great for as a step towards widening their reach and becoming more accessible to a lot of producers and or even just music makers in general, right? I think I'm a little hesitant about using the word producers, but even like composers, sound designers, students who are just or casual people who are just interested in, you know, getting into music making, right? I think that's a really good direction that they've been going in. So I hope that they continue down that road. Yeah.
Yeah. Sean, thank you so much for calling in. I appreciate the
Thanks,
call
Sean.
and support around Beaktober. Very much appreciated. Thank you so much.
Thank you guys. You guys enjoy the rest of your evening.
Thank you.
You too. Enjoy.
Thanks.
Perfect timing.
Wowzers.
Timing. That was a great
I need
marathon call-in session.
Close my eyes.
And we had a meal
tired.
delivered.
Thank you.
So Claire, I guess this poll doesn't make sense. Claire gets both. Claire orange, Claire red. Nick doesn't get anything. That's how my community voted. What is that?
Thanks, friends.
How could the poll have been better? It's a mess of a poll. That's true.
It is a mess of a poll. That's I'm keeping.
I wonder how
both.
the poll could have
To
been
prevent
better.
the mess from getting messier, I will keep both of these. No, it's okay. Why don't you pick whichever one you want?
You're the guest. You can pick which one you want. I can go with either.
I can juggle. No, I can't. I don't know why I said that. I used to juggle when I was younger, but that was kind of a strange thing. Well, if I briefly scroll up the chat, right? I think the first.
the highest percentage ones for each of us. You got red. I got orange.
Okay, cool beans. Let's do that. So.
Okay, perfect. Oh man.
Oh.
No, just kidding.
You can have this if you want. Do you want it?
Do you want this one?
No.
No?
I mean,
I got him.
I mean, as in like, I'm fine with any. Bananas. Okay. Anyway. Oh yes. Oh no. Huh?
No, they're trolling.
Oh,
They're
okay.
trolling.
I was like, huh? Okay, for a second.
Kimbap. Yes, kimbap delivered to the door.
Thank you.
Kimbap and tteokbokki and fish cake. And something.
Wow.
Vitamin.
Yeah. Vitamin.
Thank you to everybody who just called in during that segment. Listen, all I'm saying is We were supposed to do an FL Studio giveaway.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Okay, cool. Let's do it.
Okay, let's do it right now.
Let's do
FL Studio Producer Edition giveaway and FL Key giveaway. Random person who types in the chat. I'll tell you when you can type. I just have to load it up on my screen, my friends. So and then we're gonna be going into our last segment
that's
of the 24.
crazy.
Do you see how like this kind of second half or whatever just like
Ugh.
no, not fast for you?
Maybe not.
Okay. You can make it.
I know.
All right, go type chat, spam.
I'm okay.
You're okay?
Yeah.
You can go take a walk or something.
I'll just
While I
use
do
the
this giveaway.
restroom. I'll be back.
Yeah. Cold water.
I brushed my teeth like 3 times already.
I know. I keep feeling the need to brush my
I was
teeth.
like, I didn't even eat anything.
Spam the chat. Spam the chat. And spam the chat. This is a giveaway for an FL Key and FL Studio Producer Edition. So if you want to be a FL Studio producer. Go. Sorry, chat. I just need water. Go. Go. I didn't say when I was going to end it. Let's end it at 3:30. If you get picked as a winner, you must immediately type your Instagram handle. Don't say thank you. Don't say yay. Don't say hi. Just type your Instagram handle. You can type any of those things as long as you also type your Instagram handle. 3:30, 3:30, 3:30. 3:30. That's from something. Milo was talking about Powerball being at $1 billion or something like that. Crazy. Go. Okay, it's 3:30, so I'm gonna roll it. Hana, two, set. Ariel Infante. Oh, I can see subscriber since October 28th, 2021 at 6:30 p.m. at 24 seconds. Ariel Infante. Ariel. Congrats on the win, FL bundle. Please. You all know the old people on planes. You guys go on a plane and like in the middle of the flight, an old person gets up and they like walk up and down the aisle and then they get to the front of the plane and they start doing some crazy stretches or like maybe even push-ups. I hate to break it to you, but that is your friend Doll Trick. Your friend Doll Trick is that old person. Ariel Infante, I will have to re-roll if you do not message me back in 1 minute. You have 60 seconds to message me back. Or just type in chat, I should say. I cannot be more clear. That's what I like to see. We got it. No re-roll. Now, the real trick is getting Ian's Instagram handle that was in chat earlier. You know what I'm saying? Did I already message Ian? I can't remember.
Oh.
Ian, if you are still in chat, message me on Instagram. I think we can get it from the VOD. We can see the chat on VOD, maybe. Oh, that's not how I send a message. I copied it to my clipboard, but then I just copied this one to my clipboard. Ian's still here. Ian, type your Instagram handle in chat really quick. Don't worry. You're gonna get it. We'll find a way. Congrats on the FL win. We'll get that all situated beginning of next week. beginning of next week does not mean tomorrow. And just so you all know, this is not the end of our stream. We are moving on to do music producer trivia. They typed it? Where? Thank you.
A little down. Yeah.
What?
No, down.
Down.
Amelia and Ian consecutively.
Oh, okay. Got it. Sorry. Ian, I'm just going to send you a quick message that says congrats on the Ableton note code win. It says account not found. Is there new maybe? Maybe it's private. I can't message.
Oh, it just locked him out. I think he needs to.
Okay, no worries. We're going to jump to the next stream anyway. So no worries. Ian, we will make it work. Don't worry. Do not worry. All right, folks, we're going to jump to the next stream, which is music producer trivia. You do not need to do anything. You will be automatically redirected. We will see you over there on the next stream. If you do get lost, go to youtube.com/TAETRO. It'll be right on the front page. See you there.